What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. We're going to start right off by addressing the continued ongoing trial. Alvin Bragg, New York City, um, suggesting that President Trump was involved in election interference in regards to paying off Stormy Daniels and writing it off as a business expense. Right off the bat, what I want to find out from you folks, which is why we run these programs, because no one has the answer. It's always good to talk to the folks. Right off the bat, do you believe Trump is being railroaded? Do you believe what Alvin Bragg is charging Trump with is a complete fabrication? Meaning he did absolutely nothing wrong, broke zero laws, complete fabrication. Do you believe Trump is 100% innocent of what Alvin Bragg in New York is charging him with? Or perhaps they are escalating the charges to make something out of nothing, but maybe you believe he is guilty of something, just not to the extreme that Alvin Bragg and the state of New York is taking it. Or to end the conversation, do you believe he is flat out innocent and they are simply fabricating everything against President Trump? Meaning, Stormy Daniels was never paid off by Trump because they didn't sleep together. Whatever Michael Cohen gave her, Trump had nothing to do with it. Trump is 100% innocent, and they are simply trying to railroad the former president to prevent him from becoming the president in the future. I'm going to ask you folks, because obviously the claim is that President Trump slept with Stormy Daniels, wanted to keep the story quiet so it did not affect his chances in the 2020 election. And his fixer at the time, Michael Cohen, his attorney, paid her off to squash the story. $150K or whatever was paid to Stormy Daniels through the National Enquirer, by the way. Used the magazine to buy the expose that Stormy Daniels could tell her story. Same thing with Carrie McDougal. I'll give you some money to get the exclusive rights to your story about you having involvement with a presidential contender. We'll pay you a certain amount, so we own exclusive rights to the story. You can only tell us the story. Here's the check. And then they sit there and interview her, get all of the details, and they never publish any of it. And because she took the check, nobody else can get the story either. Do you believe Trump, along with Michael Cohen, as he's testifying, or will testify, do you believe Trump is guilty of doing that? Or is Alvin Bragg, New York, Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels, Carrie McDougal, and the rest of them all making this up to railroad President Trump? Second topic we're going to discuss also, we talked about this over the weekend, but because there is a different audience here during the week, I want to run this one by again. President Trump, this Time magazine interview he had, it literally is the gift for liberals that keeps on giving. The part of the interview featured Trump saying that there is an anti-white sentiment in this country. The country has grown biased against white people. And if he becomes president again, he will thwart that. According to him, that has to be stopped. That cannot happen. So if President Trump is reelected, bias against white people, the anti-sentiment against white people will go away. I don't know how that works. He didn't state it, but he absolutely said there is an anti-sentiment against whites in America, and that cannot happen under his watch. So it remains to be seen what he will do. But in addition to us discussing that, we also talked about him stating that he would grant the police immunity. Now, he was referencing at the time about the huge issue at the border But he did say that we're going to give police their power back. He stated that if he is reelected, he would give police immunity from prosecution. I want to hear your take on that. How do you feel? Do you feel just like with the anti-sentiment against white people, maybe there's an anti-sentiment against law enforcement to the point where they need to be granted immunity so that they're not worried about prosecution for something they may do while operating in law enforcement? So I want to get your take on both of those topics. You know how the program is. It is MAGA friendly, always is, always has been. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are always welcome on the program. You understand we do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. Whether you're in the box, whether you're in the comment section, if you disagree with anybody on the program, including yours truly, no one gives a damn. It's all about free speech here. So you may hear opinions that are left of Bernie Sanders to all the way to I'm having dinner with QAnon. We don't ban, block, or censor anyone. That's how the program has been ran from day one. That's how it always will be ran. So looking in the comments, Bubblegum, thank you. Hello to you as well. Real quick, why breaking precedent with Trump and not past president who committed crimes? I'm assuming, kind of difficult to translate that, but I'm assuming you're suggesting that the charges are starting with President Trump and presidents in the past that may have committed crimes were allowed to get away with it. I'm thinking that's what you're trying to say is why are they specifying only on Trump or why they targeting Trump when they let other folks get away with it? Well, two things. First of all, you're basically saying, yes, Trump did this stuff, but you would have let other people get away with it. So there goes the argument that he's innocent. You're saying, yeah, he may be guilty. You just are charging him when you didn't charge anybody else. Here's the problem I have with that. Even if that's true. Now, I don't think anybody else has even been accused of some of the things that Trump is being accused of. But let's say it's true that they let folks get away with it and they're charging Trump. The issue is simple. Whether it's you, me, anybody watching the program up to and including elite politicians, any of us can be charged with a crime, from speeding to murder. There is no crime in America that you could be charged with, I repeat, from speeding to double murder, that someone else did not do and got away with it. The point I'm trying to make is snitching will never get you out of a case. You can't go to court pointing to someone else that did what you're being charged with and got away with it, even if it's true. Even if what you're saying, whereas Trump is being charged and somebody else didn't, when you're in court, your goal is to show innocence, not to say, well, somebody else did this too. You're basically snitching. That doesn't work in court. It may get you a lower sentence if you turn state's evidence or something of that nature. But what you're basically doing, like with the documents case, well, Mike Pence and Joe Biden had documents too. That's not saying Trump doesn't have documents. You're using snitching as a defense. That doesn't work in court. Every one of us could snitch on somebody else. That doesn't get you out of court, even if it's true. Going straight to the box, we'll start it right off with Bubblegum. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. We're asking that question, is Trump guilty or is he being railroaded? Bubblegum, good afternoon.
Hi, first of all, hello, how are you? I am at work. I just pulled into work, and so I really can't be on this phone very long. But let me say this. I have a nephew. When he was about 9 or 10 years old, he used to get into a lot of trouble in school. And I love him to death. So I'm always going to tell everyone the truth, and sometimes it can be brutal. So him being around 9 or 10 years old, I have to break down the truth to him in a way that he can understand at a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old level. So I told him, I said, everything you do in life, there will be consequences. If you do something good, you will have good consequences. If you do something bad, you will have bad consequences. Now, just because you do something good doesn't mean that you will see the good consequences the next day or the next week, but you will eventually have good consequences. If you do something bad, it doesn't mean that you will eventually see the bad consequences that day or that week, but trust me, you will see those bad consequences. He understood that, even though he didn't always.
At 9. He
abide by
understood
those
at
rules.
9.
Say what? Oh, yes, he understood it, not because of the way that I broke it down to
Right,
him.
right.
He could understand it at a 9 and a 10-year-old. I think it was around 9.5, almost 10. But he understood about consequences. And so I took it a little bit further. I said, now, what if I go out and I just punch somebody in the face, and I think I got away with it because nobody told on me. I said, but then a week later, I have a police knocking at my door and said, yeah, somebody did see you.
Wow.
And these are your consequences. I said, they're going to take me to jail. I said, just because I didn't see the consequences that day, somebody saw it. Somebody knew about it. And so he was like, oh, like that. So sometimes being an adult, we forget. I'm just going to say it like that. Sometimes we forget that we will suffer consequences no matter how young.
Are you suggesting that former President Trump somehow forgets that he may have consequences due at some point?
Yes, I do believe that, because he has lived a life of privilege. He has, okay, let me say that again for the people who do not believe me. He has lived a life of privilege. Even now, so he's going through a case where the judge keeps giving him so much leniency on a gag order. Now, if that was me, regardless of my age, my race, my gender, regardless of who I am, I would have been sent to jail the very first time I refused to honor that gag order. Now, I don't know. Now, you may not agree with that, but that is facts. He has lived a life of privilege. Not one time has he ever been able to say, I have done this that was bad, and I've never seen consequences.
No, how do you respond to folks like on YouTube? I got folks saying he's being railroaded. In other words, other presidential candidates, other politicians have done things similar, like with the Letitia James case where there was no financial victims and they didn't get charged. So how do you respond to folks that say he's being railroaded?
Okay, so if he's being railroaded and no one else, no other president has ever been found guilty or been prosecuted or persecuted, however they want to word it, then show the proof. Certain people want to say, show the proof. Show the proof. Because remember Bill Clinton, right? Not too long ago, Bill Clinton.
Okay.
He lied and he said, no, I did not do this and no, I did not do that. So the young lady came out with proof.
Yeah, but now, when you say show the proof, there is proof that both Mike Pence and President Biden had documents. Yet neither one of them are being charged, and Trump is.
Right. Well, come on now, handsome. They had documents, and they gave them back willingly.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Donald Trump had documents. He lied, which is not a crime, but he lied and said, I don't have documents. And then he said, no, they're mine. I'm keeping them, which that is the crime. You keeping something that does not belong to you.
Yeah, but I gotta push back.
Mike Pence and Biden, they knew those documents did not belong to them.
But hang on a second, Bubblegum, I gotta push back. Biden in particular had documents in his possession for damn near a generation. If Trump hadn't got caught up in all of this mess, do you feel confident that President Biden would have gave those documents back? It likely would have never even come up.
If I'm pretty sure. Well, I can't speak for him, but I'm thinking if Biden knew that he had those documents, because he said he didn't even know that he had those documents.
Very convenient. Very convenient, though, to just say, well, I didn't know I had mine. If having the documents in your possession is a crime, just like if I go and rob a bank and I decide in the middle of the night I feel guilty, I'm going to go turn this money back in the next day, it's still a crime to rob the bank.
It's still a crime, but look, it's not a crime if you don't know that you've had them. Now, like you said, he had them for over a decade, 10, 20, 30 years. Fine, but you know, when you move around, when you move around, things get moved. My husband was in the military. We moved constantly. And yes, I lost documents, important documents. My wedding, my marriage certificate. I have lost my birth certificate within transition of moving, not because of anyone's carelessness, but my own, because I put them in boxes and I lost certain boxes moving from state to state to state. You will lose things.
Let me ask you this phrase.
Wait a minute, hold on, look at this. I also found boxes within transitions. I'm like, I didn't know I had that. I forgot I had that. 5 years later, I'm like, wait a minute. I got a big old box of socks I forgot that I had 5 years ago. So yes, we do within transition, Handsome.
So let me ask you, have you ever heard of this phrase? Ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law. Have you ever heard of that before?
Ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law.
Yeah.
Ignorance is no excuse. It's no excuse.
In other words, the fact that you didn't know the speed limit was 55 when you're doing 70, or that you brought documents home that were illegal to have, or that you forgot you had them in your house, ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law.
Ignorance is no excuse. So you know what? Just because I didn't know that the speed limit was 70 and I was going 900, if I get a ticket, I get a ticket.
Right. If you get held accountable.
So now going back to Biden. Now, when they said, you know, you got some documents here, he says, okay, take them.
It's been 30, bubblegum has been 30 years later.
Now, let's be honest. The crime would have been if he would have said, oh, I got them. I forgot I had them. I didn't know I had them. But so I'm keeping them. They're mine. I am now the president. I'm going to keep them. That would be the crime.
Yeah, I get your point, but
he willingly gave them up. He willingly gave them up.
He willingly gave them up after 30 years. That's what you call willingly?
They said, listen, these boxes belong to us. He said, okay, I didn't know I had them. Take them.
Okay.
Where's the crime? Tell me where the crime is when they say you have these documents. He says, okay, I didn't know I had them. Take them. They said, okay, fine, we're taking them. But hold on, here's the crime. When they say, Handsome, you have these documents, and you say, well, they're mine. I'm keeping them. And they say, no, they belong to us. You are no longer president. They belong to us. And you say, nope, I'm keeping them. They're mine. I was once the president. And as a matter of fact, I won the election. So I'm still the president anyway. Forget Joe Biden. I'm still the president. I'm keeping them. There's your crime.
Here's the issue. Here's the issue why folks are
go ahead.
Here's the issue why folks are suggesting that it looks unfair to Trump. Biden has documents in his possession for 30 years, and he's given a chance, as you're pointing out, to return them. Trump left office in 2021, and they immediately was all over him to return documents. Meanwhile, Biden, nobody's sweating him at all, to the point where he voluntarily looks around his house and was like, oh, you know, I still got something. They're sweating Trump within a year. Biden gets 30 years without anybody asking him a damn thing. Do you see anything unfair about that? Okay, bubblegum, I may have lost my last guess. We're moving on. And listen, I sometimes have to play devil's advocate and take the other side, because in this case, we're asking that question, is Trump being railroaded? Now, we know about the case of Alvin Bragg, but the whole story is, did he commit an actual crime? Or is he being charged for something that other folks have been let go of or wasn't considered to be a big problem? That's what we're going to be discussing today. Looking in the comments, I see Don says, yes, he is being railroaded. Fair enough. So Trump had a whole year to return the documents. He chose not to, and he lied too. Well, the lying part, I guess they're going to have to adjudicate that part in court because lying is that's where the obstruction of justice part is coming from. We can talk about Biden having documents, Mike Pence having documents, and Trump having documents, and only Trump getting charged. But the obstruction of justice part is uniquely Trump. Both Mike Pence and Joe Biden, I don't think anyone's suggesting that they obstructed justice. They had the documents in their possession. We can talk about that, but they did at the end of the day voluntarily give them back. And it does seem like Trump was fighting to do that. It does seem like Trump. So if it's only obstruction of justice, which I believe it actually is, but we'll see. If it's only obstruction of justice, then yeah, they probably, if they can show evidence, they may get Trump good to rights on that. But we'll see. Looking in the comments, Trump should have just given them back when they found he had them, says Maurice Thomas. Yeah, and it appears that his own lawyer testified that she told him that she eventually, the female lawyer told him that, sir, if you don't get these documents back, it's going to be a crime. So, because the attorneys understand the jargon that's being sent to them on behalf of their client. And just like with the multiple counts of contempt against Trump, where these judges are finding him in contempt, make no mistake about it, his counsel is telling him, sir, you can potentially go to jail for this. He's probably just saying, fuck it, I don't care. But I mean, he has been advised that, violating the gag order can cause him to go to jail. The HR Gator, thank you for the hat and mustache. Yeah, appreciate your support of the program. Moving the program on, Moo, the tuxedo cat. Good afternoon, Moo. Is President Trump actually guilty, or is he being railroaded? Moo, are you there?
Ooh, I hope I have you there, man.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm here, man. Yeah, man, I can hear you.
Okay, so do you believe the former President Trump is being railroaded, or do you believe he's actually guilty of this stuff?
No, the correct way to say that is he should stop committing so many fucking crimes, and then the police wouldn't be after him all the time. It's very simple, man, right? If you don't commit crimes, the police don't come after you. This dude's a huge fucking baby, and he wants to whine all day about, oh, this is so unfair. Well, dude, stop committing crimes, and then the police won't be after you. It's very simple.
Well, but
it has nothing to do with him being railroaded.
But
he's a fucking idiot.
He's suggesting that he's being treated differently than other folks that have done the same thing.
He's being treated differently than you or I, and he wouldn't be in court for this document bullshit if he just would have gave them back. They don't want to prosecute him. He's an elite. He's one of the rich in the country. They don't want to actually go after him, and they wouldn't have. But Trump, like always, is his own worst enemy, right? Just like how he didn't need to pay off Stormy Daniels. His supporters don't give a fuck if he cheats on his wife. They're all scumbags. Half of them probably cheat on their wives. They don't give a shit what he does.
Wait a minute, hold up.
It's the cover-up. Wait, hang on. It's the cover-up, right? It's the cover-up that's the problem. If he would have just given back the documents, no one would give a shit, and he'd still be playing golf in Mar-a-Lago, getting diabetes, and eating Big Macs.
Moo. Now, the Trump base is loaded with God-fearing evangelicals. You're not suggesting they all cheating on their wives. Come on now.
God-fearing evangelicals that want to grab people by the pussy? I don't think so, my dude.
That was locker room talk.
I don't think so.
That was locker room talk.
No, I don't think so, dude. No, you see, no. So first of all, most people who claim to be religious are like some of the worst people in the world, man, honestly. And these people are not Christian, quote unquote, right? They don't care if he slams gay people. They don't care if he slams LGBTQ people, right? Jesus taught you to take in immigrants, people who you don't know, and treat them nicely. And they slam the shit out of them too. These people are not quote unquote Christians. They're just white supremacists, my dude, who think that Jesus would be on their side for some reason.
White supremacists, and what do you call Tim Scott? He speaks very favorably of Trump.
Tim Scott's what you call a moron, right?
Come on now, Ben Carlson.
Oh, better yet, he's an Uncle Tom.
I've never heard a white person use that term before. Okay, all right. You're taking me to places I didn't expect to go. Now this is another, now, obviously I see you believe that what Alvin Bragg is doing is actual justice. Now, because Trump is saying he didn't pay Stormy Daniels off, they never slept together, he never had an affair with Karen McDougal or any of this stuff. He is alleging that Michael Cohen, on his own, decided to pay off Stormy Daniels. Perhaps maybe them two were having an affair together or something like that. So you're saying that...
Dude, that makes total sense, right? That makes total sense because I always pay for the hookers that my friends get. I know you do. Lots of people in the chat always pay for the hookers that their friends get. It's a common thing, right? So I totally believe that. God, you MAGA people are so fucking stupid. It's amazing. Man. It's amazing how dumb y'all are.
Oh my,
it really is. And the fact that Michael Cohen went to... So let me surprise you with something, MAGA, because Michael Cohen already went to jail for this crime. Guess what? Trump's going to get found guilty. Now, he may not go to jail, but he guilty as fuck, right? Because people have already gone to jail for this shit. So he's going to be found guilty. So I'm just warning y'all now.
Now, I want to ask you something else. I get your point on the Alvin Bragg case. I don't think there's any need to push that further. You're pretty strong on your opinion there. Trump promised, he was talking about the border, and he was suggesting that police have lost a lot of power in this country, and he promised that if he becomes president, he would give law enforcement immunity. His words were, we're going to have to give police their power back. Do you think what he's onto might be a good idea, whereas maybe the sentiment toward police has handicapped them to the point where maybe they need immunity from prosecution to do their jobs?
So I'll tell you what that's all about right there. That's just his plan of being a dictator, right? He wants the police to have complete immunity so that, like he told Time Magazine, he can send them into cities, have them do whatever he needs them to do to whoever he needs them to do it to, and just not get off scot-free. That's exactly what that is, and that's why he wants that. Police already have qualified immunity, and if you watch Dr. Rashad Ritchie, you'll see black people getting systemically fucked up all day long by these cops, and the vast majority of the time these cops suffer no consequences other than they have to go on a vacation until they get enough excuses made for them where they can come back to their job and then hurt another black person.
You paint a grim picture. In the comments, Mona Who says Trump is the best president ever. And once again, shout out to a lot of my female MAGA, female Republicans. Do you think at the end of the day, because in regards to this female here, do you think at the end of the day, Trump has to worry at all about the woman's vote? It seemed to be a lot of women all over the program in favor of Trump.
Well, no offense, my dude, but your chat is geared towards MAGA, so it's not any surprise you have a bunch of morons in here saying those types of things, right? You gear your stream towards them. So, of course, you have a bunch of dipshits in here saying, oh, man, yeah, if I get an abortion, I definitely want to be locked up, man. Lock me up, lock my doctor up, too. And they're fucking stupid, dude. There's no end to how dumb these people are, right? None of them know if they're when or if they'll get pregnant, and then they may need an abortion, and then they'll be crying, oh, well, I can't get one now. I'll go to jail. And by then it's too late because you're a bunch of dumb fucks, right?
Moo, you might be a bit hard on MAGA. In the comments, Steve White says, wow, just wow. If you believe any of this, I feel sorry for you. Can you say anything good about MAGA at all? Is there? Hold on, hang on.
My dude. First of all, you worship a dude with a mushroom tip dick, right? All the girls that banged him says he has a little dinky mushroom tip, right? He shits himself. He wears diapers. He paints himself orange. He's bald, right? He's fat. He's ugly as shit. And you worship this dude. So I feel sorry for you because you're a dumbass.
But wait a minute. You're pointing all of this stuff. You do realize Biden is all over television, falling, tripping on his words, falling up airplane stairs. It's not like Biden comes across as, I mean, is there any difference between Biden and Trump on that?
Trump fell up the stairs with toilet paper on his shoe. I mean, do you want to compare fall downs? Because both of them are falling the fuck down. They're both old as shit. Yeah. I mean, what? Trump can't even put a coherent sentence together. I mean, what? We're going to compare how old they are now? Whose balls are saggy or what?
God. All right, Moo, you done pissed off about a quarter of my audience as usual, but nevertheless, always welcome on the program. Free speech it is. Thank you, Moo. Appreciate it. All right, moving the program out.
Yeah, you have a good one, man.
Thank you. Moo doesn't disappoint. There's an audience for Moo, and there certainly is haters for him as well. But what do we say on the program, folks? We don't block, ban, or censor anyway. We get strong MAGA. We get Republicans, conservatives, folks in the middle. We get folks. Moo is a progressive. He doesn't mind admitting that. He's not a fan of Biden either. He's to the left of Biden. So if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any concern of being blocked, banned, or censored, you are in the right place. Let me go ahead and give my spiel. Feel free to tap that screen on TikTok. Get the likes up to about 30,000. There's over 700 of you in here. To my YouTube audience, smash that like button, if you will. A subscription on YouTube, or follow the program on TikTok, if you would. Now, after my last guest, I'm going to assume a hell of a lot of MAGA are not very happy about that. But that's how free speech is oriented. You're going to hear opinions you disagree with. Looking in the comment section, though, real quick here. Please tell me why people are willing to sell their souls for Donald Trump. You guys see any evidence of somebody selling their soul for President Trump? Wow, that's a strong sentiment. I'm going to say Tim Scott didn't look good on television this weekend, but selling their soul for President Trump. What if they're selling their soul for a good economy? For cheaper fuel at the pump, being able to afford groceries. What if that's what they're selling their soul for? Is that possible? Looking in the comments real quick, I cannot pronounce that. Kakalaka Boy says, you got my sub. Thank you very much, Kakalaka Boy. By the way, 1 p.m. Central. 1 p.m. Central is when we're here Monday through Friday. Been that way for, 2 years, 3 years now? Going back to the box, we'll keep it going with Big Rex 137. Good afternoon, Big Rex. Immunity for law enforcement. Immunity for law enforcement, Big Rex. What say you?
Good afternoon, brother.
Good to have you on.
They don't need immunity, man, because they pretty much have it now. They do what the fuck they want and no consequences. They get put on paid leave or transfer somewhere. They never go to jail. So what they need immunity for?
I don't know about that, Rex.
Some do when they're blatant about it. Yeah, okay. Some do.
All right.
But they can't have that kind of power, man.
Why do you think Trump would be suggesting it? If you think that is too much power for law enforcement, why do you think he's suggesting it?
Because Trump said that he is going to let them do what they want if he becomes president, basically. And they're already doing that. Look at New Mexico, Arizona. I see a lot of videos where them people just terrorizing them citizens, and most of them are Mexican.
Wow.
And Trump don't give a damn about Mexicans, and that's what he's focusing on, the Mexicans. He don't care about black people.
What are you? Wait! You're throwing up some heavy stuff. Trump don't care about Mexicans and black folks. You can't just throw that out there. Elaborate on that. What's making you say that Trump don't care about Mexicans and black people?
Because that's all he said the whole time, that they're coming over here committing crimes. Look at how many Mexican citizens commit crimes. Very little. And he puts them as gangbangers and thugs, the people sending all their criminals here. No, the people I know all work, and they work hard. I don't know not one that's on some kind of government assistance other than until they need it, if they ain't got nothing to start with. But then they get off of it because they work. Every one of them. And most of them have 5 and 6 families living in one house. And all of them pool their money together. Them people work.
Yeah, but how do you respond? How do you respond to folks that say Trump doesn't have an issue with Mexicans? He just wants folks to immigrate to this country by legal means, come in the legal way.
Everybody wants that.
Yeah.
That's true. But when Trump was in office, all you had to do was buy your citizenship. There wasn't no waiting period. All his people got in here with no problem. His mother-in-law, all his family like that. And them people, if you got money, you're welcome. Yeah, if you don't, you're going to have a 10-year wait.
That's in any nation, though. But Big Rex, that's because I lived in Australia. When I immigrated to Australia for the 5 years I was there, you could buy your way in there. I think just about every country on earth, you can buy your way into it.
Yeah, but I don't feel that's right, man. These people are coming over here because they're getting threatened in their company by these cartels and all them other stuff. But they want to focus on criminals coming over. All of them ain't criminals, man.
You also mentioned black folks. What about Trump makes you suggest he don't care about black people? Because Trump suggests he's done more for blacks than anybody.
Right. He wants their damn vote. That's all he wants. He wants the black vote.
Well, he's a politician. Isn't that what he should do? He should want their vote, right?
Yeah, he should, but at least do something. Everybody says they're going to do something for black citizens, and nobody does. I ain't seen it yet.
Not even Biden.
What has he done?
That's what I'm asking. So then let me ask you, if you haven't seen anything impressive being done for black people, is it safe to say you're sitting out this election? You're not going to vote for Trump or Biden?
Man, I'm not voting for neither one of them this time. I can't do it, man, because Biden is right at the edge of not being there, man. I mean, I liked him when he was a senator because he messed with all the corporations and all that stuff. He was hard on people. He became vice president. Obama, I love President Obama. I voted for him twice because he's the only one I saw that has some common damn sense. He wasn't thinking about just black people or white people, none of that. He was thinking about everybody. And everybody did well.
So when it came down to 2016, Trump versus Hillary, did you sit that one out?
No.
Who'd you vote for?
Hillary. Okay. I can't stand her. But I mean, I don't like that family. There's a lot of prejudiced people, man, and they hide it well. I'm white, so I know. Don't tell me, I don't know. I know.
I gotta tell you, Big Rex, we talked before, and what you just said triggered me from last time we talked. You don't sound like a white guy. I'm just gonna tell you that. You don't sound white. I don't know if that's stereotyping, but I thought you were black the whole damn time. Now there you go. I see your picture. I'm sure you hear that all the damn time, right?
Oh yeah, all the time. Can't get away from it.
What you do? What do you do? Grow up watching Good Times and eating collard greens? You don't sound like a white guy.
Man, from the age of 8, I lived in a black neighborhood.
Okay.
And I lived in there until I went to the Army. And then when I came back, I went back to a black neighborhood. And I've been in black neighborhoods all my life. I'm more comfortable.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? What about black neighborhoods? Because they're usually more impoverished. Unfortunately, the crime is a bit higher. What makes you feel comfortable in the black neighborhoods?
The neighborhoods I've lived in, they're all family-oriented, brother. They took care of me like I was them.
Wow.
Same with the Mexicans. I worked on a Mexican crew. Them boys took care of me. I didn't have to bring nothing to eat. I didn't have to do nothing. Them boys, they took care of me. All you got to do is be kind to people, man. All this shit I see all the time, it irritates me because I'm not in front of them to tell them how I feel. On this thing here, that it don't come across right because it seems like I'm just a...
But when you say be kind to people, how do you respond to folks who might say under Trump, people could afford groceries, gas, inflation? Is that not financial kindness being bestowed upon us by Trump?
Man, I see people can afford things right now. They all complaining, but they buying. What can you say? I see people buying houses, buying cars, going in the stores, buying up everything, but they broke. How you broke and you got all that money?
But they are a little bit more expensive under Biden and Trump. You don't see any difference at all?
It's a lot more expensive, but you make do. That's all I can say. What do you want me to say? People make do.
Yeah, but under Trump, under Biden, you're saying people need to make do. Under Trump, they're going to say we were flourishing. Trump didn't tell us to make do. He said go out and enjoy it.
Okay, under Trump, those people that are in power, as in corporations and senators, all that mess, they made money. So naturally, it's going to trickle down to us a little bit. It wasn't at the same amount like they're making, but throw us a little bit and we're happy. Lower our gas prices and we're fucking happy. What kind of shit is that?
All right, but I will say this. Listening to our discussion, if you sit out the election in November, you're helping Trump. You sound like a Democrat, just are not happy with the current Democratic administration. If you sit out this election, you are helping Trump.
I talk that shit, but I'm probably going to vote for Biden because, damn, I just can't let Trump do that. If he learned the first 4 years how to really fuck us over, because he got caught up in all this mess, because he didn't know how to do it. Now he knows. They'd be a damn fool to put him back in office, man. Really.
A lot of folks that favored him, man. He didn't get 74 million from nowhere. Then he say his support has gotten bigger.
Idea how. How can you possibly ignore all that dumb shit that man does and says? All you got to do is, well, he campaigned the whole entire time he was president. For the next election, he didn't do shit but campaign for himself.
So how do you, now in the comments on YouTube, because you know we run simultaneously on both platforms. On YouTube, Clifford Manning says he watches too much CNN, ABC, and NBC. You're right. He is very misinformed, suggesting that you're getting all of your talking points from the left-wing media.
Okay, you ain't got to believe it, but I don't even have TV. I mean, I have a TV, but I don't have all those things that these people talking about, CNN and all that dumb shit. I stopped that 5 years ago, man. It's always the same stuff. They just throw up the same shit, whatever's pressing for that minute, you know? And I don't need to hear all that, because I can stop for 10 years, come back, and it's the same thing.
Yeah. You're not the first one to say that. You're not the first one to say that. Well, Big Rex, always a pleasure. Go ahead, I'll give you the last
Brother,
word.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you. Appreciate your service. Appreciate your service as well. My door's always open to you, Rex.
I appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.
You too. You too. Moving the program on. He ain't lying, says TB. What did I say? Real quick in the comments. Fox News was sued for almost $1 billion for telling lies, says Harriet Lomax. They were sued for, I think, probably more than that. They settled for $750 million. Yeah, Fox News. And I'm a huge Fox News viewer. Been that way 20 years, I think, 20 plus years. Called in to Fox News Talk, their radio division, and used to debate both John Gibson when he was part of Fox News Radio and Tom Sullivan. I debated them so much they actually invited me out. So I've been to One America, what is it, One America Place or something. I know the address of the damn building. I've been there and actually got to host the show for a half hour with Tom Sullivan. Took calls and everything in the Fox News studios. Nevertheless, I will say that out of my 20 plus years of watching Fox News, DJ Julio, yeah, thank you for the hat and mustache. Thank you for the support. In my 20 plus years of watching Fox News, We Report, You Decide, what was their other one? Fair and Balanced. It did change under the Trump administration. It went from we stand on conservative and right-wing principles to we follow Trump. And that is problematic. That is somewhat, I'm not saying that maybe Trump doesn't have the best ideas for America. You may have that opinion, and you're rightfully, you have the right to have that opinion. But yeah, because Trump is doing a lot of things that I know after watching Fox for 20 years, they were staunchly against. And all of a sudden now when Trump does it, they're totally okay with it. So they kind of went against true conservative, traditional principles in favor of we're following Trump. Maybe they believe he has the best vision for America. Who knows? But that ain't what they used to stand on. So it has affected my viewership. Maybe others, it's drawing them to the channel, but it has affected my viewership because they no longer stand on their own traditional principles anymore. And they've lost a host of folks too. A lot of their own anchors and things like that, the Brett Bears or the Shep Smiths, a lot of their own personalities have skedaddled, for lack of a better word. Going back to the box, Toothpick 818, talking about is President Trump being railroaded in New York City. Nobody in history has ever been accused and crucified as bad as Trump, except Jesus. Trump will rise. You really think no one else? People have died from being crucified. No one else worse than Trump, huh? Trump ain't even spent the day in jail. No one else worse than that? Really? Toothpick, what am I getting wrong? Good afternoon.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Clearly.
Say that again?
I was just saying, I hope that you can hear me clearly.
Loud and clear. So what do you think?
Awesome.
Do you think that Trump is being railroaded?
No. But I think that the issue of, I guess, what you're suggesting, that, there being a favoritism towards Biden, I think that that's just more of a broader conversation on the system itself.
So you believe the system itself is treating Biden more favorably than Trump?
Not necessarily him in particular. I mean, first off, I don't want to give any indication that I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not planning to vote for Biden or Trump. I'm sort of deciding between Claudia de la Cruz or Cornel West.
Okay, well, if you're leaning toward Cornel West, I'm assuming you didn't vote for Trump last go round either.
Absolutely not.
Okay. What's wrong with Trump?
What isn't wrong with him?
Well, some folks believe he gave us a great economy.
Well, you have to understand that when Trump came into office, this was towards the end of the Obama years, right?
It was the end of Obama years. It was the end.
Yeah. So Obama, I have my complaints about him, but I feel like that's a different conversation for another day. But I feel like, obviously when a president leaves, they leave that economy to the next one. And then, it's not like Trump or even Biden have a finger on their dial where it's like, okay, today let's, turn up the price for gas, or let's, make eggs cost $7. There's lots of other market forces in play there. But I do think that when you're in power, when you're in president, I do think there is some sort of issue there. But I think that two things one major thing that I wanted to bring to your attention was the perspective and the topic of immigration.
Okay.
And I can tell you a lot about that because I'm the son of immigrants, and I can tell you in my own lived experience and how people talk about people like me in my community on Fox News and in right-wing sort of circles.
What country you from? Where's your ancestry?
Well, I was born here, but my parents are from El Salvador.
Okay. All right. South of the border. Okay. I get it. Keep going.
Okay. So that being said, when I compare my lived experience to, how people in the right-wing sphere speak about us, and I mean us as in the immigrant community, I could be Mexicans, Salvadorans, Venezuelans.
Hispanics.
We're not all Hispanics, yes. When people talk about us, it's a huge disconnect and it's a huge misunderstanding. And I think that it's very unfair, and I think it's very disrespectful for how those people speak about us. And I just wanted to say that for conservatives, and I'm going to assume you consider yourself a conservative, right?
No, I lean left. I lean left socially.
Okay, but I mean, in the case where most conservatives, have this sort of, let's get to it, let's get the fingers in, get our nails dirty, get our fingernails dirty, and let's get to work and all that. I would argue that they have more in common with immigrants and with people that are crossing the border than with all these conservative pundits that trick them into hating immigrants.
Wow,
and it's sad.
You think it tricked them? Give me an example of how conservatives have tricked folks into hating immigrants. What do you mean by that?
Well, when Trump first said in 2015, and I remember that broadcast very specifically, he said, "Oh, they're not sending their best. They're sending criminals,
rapists and
they're
murderers,
sending drug lords, all that whole stint, right?" I mean, a lot of these people, just like the previous caller said, a lot of these people are escaping cartel violence. A lot of these people are escaping active war zones. A lot of these people are escaping sort of impoverished situations, right? And a lot of people then like to sort of counter with the idea of, well, why don't they fix their countries? Why don't they fix their own government?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, first of all, that just shows me that you don't have a broader understanding of the role that the United States and the capitalist influence has had on Central and South America. And during the Cold War, even during the Reagan years, they considered Central and South America America's backyard. And now, would you feel good about like a bigger power considering you subordinate to them in that way? We're our own people, we're our own countries.
Yeah,
When
but
my
you
mom,
understand a lot of Americans. The problem they have is that when you allow immigrants into our nation, we're competing with them for jobs that they're willing to work for a hell of a lot less than U.S. fair wages. So it actually brings down the wages for the typical American worker because now you're competing with folks who are willing to work for considerably less. That's how a lot of folks feel.
that's a fair sentiment, but it's like if you look at the economy in Florida and how that's been affected by all, the people being expelled there, I would argue that no, it's the opposite. They come here, businesses set up on the roadsides where they start working. You have more people, willing to take on, of course, there's people that are willing to take on work that not everybody else is willing to do, but that doesn't mean necessarily that a lot of those people are, first of all, going to stay there. And second of all, that doesn't mean that's not really a problem with, that's not a problem with us coming to, quote unquote, take your jobs. That's more a question of like exploitation. And that's sort of
Yeah, but it's exploitation if we assume that every immigrant coming in this country is going to do jobs no Americans want. But there are plenty of them who come to this country and aspire to be investors and owners of businesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're competing with them eventually. There's no other way around it. You're going to be competing with them.
Okay, but then let me ask you this: weren't the people who are already here immigrants at one point?
Yeah.
Why do they get to say we're Americans? When do you become really American? What about all the immigrants?
Well, but then based on your theory, we may as well just have open borders because, I mean, there's no point in history where that won't be the case. So just let anybody who wants to come here better themselves?
Isn't that what this country was founded upon? Wasn't that the philosophy of like when they say, oh, bring your starving, your cold, and your poor? Isn't that the point?
Yeah, it was founded on bring us your territory where you're poor.
Exactly.
All men. Well, hold on a second. It's also founded on all men are created equal and separation of church and state. You do realize that stuff was a lie, don't you? It sounded good. They didn't actually mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree that it's a lie, but it's like me and you are here, and me and you now have the opportunity to change that and actually make it true and actually make a more equitable, just society for anybody who comes in. Hey, my country is in turmoil. Do it in certain due in part by American colonialism and foreign intervention.
So let me get clarity. So you're basically saying as long as a person does not have a criminal history, they're not wanted by anybody, and they're just coming here and they want to work and better themselves, we should allow any upstanding human entry into this country as long as they don't mean harm to the country.
Isn't that what they do with Western immigrants as well? How come they don't get scrutinized the same way people from the South come?
Well, the problem is we don't have infinite resources, Toothpick. I mean, eventually you could have the whole country living like they do in Manhattan.
It's not necessarily true. The same way people come, the same way people go. And I understand your sentiment, and I understand that idea. It's like, well, one is enough. But the thing is, it's like, first off, let's address another reason why there may be such a huge influx of immigration of any kind into this country. And again, it goes back to colonialism. If you go back to the majority of the time that this country's been, I don't know how far, I'm not going to make a statement on the 1800s, but from the 1900s, all the banana wars, our intervention in the Spanish-American War in the Philippines, and I can definitely speak to you about the United States' role in the Civil War in El Salvador, which caused my mom to immigrate to this country. Because I'm going to tell you this much right now. My mom suffered a lot of trauma during those years when the war was beginning to ramp up. And my mom will tell you, she loves this country. She loves America. But if at that age she could have chosen, she would have rather not have left. Nobody wants to leave their home.
Yeah, I believe that.
A lot of these people pick up, literally some of them leave with just the clothes on their back because they don't have time and they can't even say goodbye to their relatives because a lot of these people are facing...
Then how do you respond to folks who, one of the biggest issues when it comes to immigration is, okay, you can just come legally. Folks are coming and they're skipping the line, they're claiming asylum when they don't meet the qualifications. They're not coming legally. How do you address that? Do you just let them skip?
Okay, two things to that. when you describe and it's a rhetorical question because having you do that we're gonna be here all day, but like when people describe an illegal immigrant, who do they imagine?
The guy running across the desert.
Okay, then, but there are also illegal immigrants that come in from, and I mean illegal, with quotation marks, because that's kind of a dirty word to me, anyways. But there's people that come in from Europe. There's people that are smuggled in from China.
Okay.
There's people that are smuggled in from Asia. And also, what about the people coming in from Ukraine? How come Kamala Harris didn't go over there to Ukraine and wasn't like, don't come? You know what I mean? She went to Guatemala.
So I don't get what's your argument. As long as you're letting them come in illegally, let us come in illegally too.
My argument, well, that's one question. That's one point of view. The other point of view is that majority of people like me and anybody who's pro-immigrant, we do want immigration reform, because obviously we don't want criminals to come in here. We don't want criminals coming in here either, and we don't want people tarnishing the good name of immigrants.
Well, then it sounds like you should be voting for Trump.
No way, because it's like it's not so much also about the immigration reform. It's the way that it's presented, and time again. And it's not only Trump, and I would even go as far as to say that even Biden is guilty of this as well. Because again, remember, I'm not going to vote for either of them. I'm voting for the other.
Then you're voting for Biden, just like with my last caller. So, someone with your point of view, if you don't vote for Trump or Biden, you are helping Trump. You are yet another liberal to some degree. You lean left politically. If you don't like Biden, you're helping Trump out.
How about I'll tell you it like this. I'll present it to you like this. And I have to say that I'm actually very much enjoying this conversation. But I'll tell it to you like this. The first time that I ever voted was in 2016, because in 2008 I wasn't old enough. Okay. But in 2016, the first time I voted, it was
Hillary.
Reluctantly for Hillary, right?
Okay.
The second time I voted, obviously in 2020 during the pandemic, very, very angrily and very reluctantly I voted for Biden, right? And I'm tired of these establishment politicians on either side forcing, obviously Trump voters want to vote for him, right? But I'm tired of the Democratic establishment using the threat of Trump as a way to coerce me to vote for them.
Mm. So let me tell you why what I think you just said don't make a lot of sense. I'm gonna tell you, I agree that the Democratic Party don't always do more than take their own voters for granted. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But this is the same argument the Bernie Sanders supporters had against Hillary Clinton. The point I'm trying to make to you is this. If you look at Biden as if he's not worth his salt, he's taking you for granted, understand wherever Biden leaves us is going to be at the very least closer to where you want. If Biden loses and you get Trump, you're going to be way away from where you believe America politically should be. You don't believe we're where we should be under Biden. I get it. But Trump is going to take you might get another Supreme Court judge under Trump, to the point where even if you get the perfect progressive candidate you want, things may be so far to the right that they can't undo it. We're at a 6-3 majority Supreme Court against your causes. Could be 7-2. Even if you get AOC at that point, she's not going to be able to change that.
I don't really believe in AOC anymore either.
Okay.
But I get your point, and I understand what you're saying, and I unfortunately have to agree with that. But at some point, when do you stop voting out of coercion, and when do you vote with your heart? And I feel like as an American, and I know it sounds.
You want a perfect candidate, is what you're saying.
No, it's not that. It's like, that's, I feel like, and I feel sad saying this, but I don't think we're gonna get that anytime soon. But it's like, I don't like continually being coerced into voting for somebody that I staunchly don't like, because you can say, oh, Biden is considered as marginally less bad than Trump, but it's like, well, look what's happening right now. There's an active genocide going on in Palestine, And then there's that whole argument right now. What is he doing? Nothing. He continues to sort of,
So what do you? So if you believe that genocide Joe, I suppose is what you guys are calling him.
Yes.
If all of a sudden Biden loses and you get Trump, do you think Trump would be more favorable towards what you want? You think he might be worse or better?
Well, the genocide's already happening. The people are.
That ain't what I'm asking you though. It can stop. If Trump gets in power, maybe he'll end it. Maybe he'll make it even worse. Maybe he'll leave it the same.
No, he won't. No, he won't. Because all these people are bought off by AIPAC. All these people are pro-Israel. Okay. So what difference would it make?
Yeah, but what other politics are you concerned with? Are you pro Second Amendment? Are you pro choice? What about all those other issues? I mean, are you voting strictly based on what's happening in Gaza?
I mean, that's a good question. That is a lot to think about, and I can give you my 2 cents on them briefly, I guess, for the sake of time. So, in terms of the Second Amendment, I grew up in somewhat of a dangerous neighborhood. So at some point I was looking to get a gun license, right? But here in New Jersey, if you have some sort of mental if at some point you've seen a psychologist or anything, which I have, I think that automatically disqualifies you. But I think that much like immigration reform, I think that the problem isn't that, the problem is that
real quick,
I don't think people are establishing. I think there's too much of a fight against establishing common sense gun laws. Because I do.
So you're in favor of common sense gun laws?
Yes.
Are you pro-choice or pro-life?
Pro-choice, because there's the assumption that.
What do you think of groups like Black Lives Matter? What do you think of when you hear that?
I mean, I do support that. I do agree.
What do you think of the LGBT community?
I mean, I think that there should be space for them. I think that they deserve just as much respect.
You're going to lose every damn thing you just mentioned in favor of a country you don't live in? Everything you mentioned, Trump is on the other side of that. You're going to give all of that up because you believe what's happening in Gaza is wrong. So what you're going to do is defend Gaza and make your own homeland unfavorable to you. Do you understand what you're doing?
I get where you're coming from, but I think that that's a misunderstanding of those two things.
I just asked you everything you just said. Yes. Trump is on the other side of everything you just said. Here in America, you're voting against Biden and Trump because of what's happening in Israel and Palestine. But in America, you're admitting Trump is not for anything I stand for.
Well, my point is that those two things are linked, because continuing to support Israel in the war that has nothing to do with us, using our tax dollars, puts Americans at risk.
All right. I gotta move it on. I get your point though, but wow, I'm just gonna say that. Look, you're always welcome back, man. But I gotta move it on.
Really quick, 2 seconds.
Real quick.
I will say that all those issues are linked. They're not mutually exclusive. And that's it. Great talking to you, buddy.
Anytime. Here's the point I don't understand, because I'm about to yell out, make it make sense. But here's the point I don't understand. He admits that everything Trump stands for domestically goes against his principles. But because they're both, in his opinion, on the same side of the Israel issue, which he's not going to get what he wants in Israel out of Trump either. If you can't get $1, go with the guy offering you 80 cents. I don't get it, but there's two callers. There's two liberal callers back to back that don't like Biden. Can I interest you folks in the red hat? MAGA, Trump may pull this off. For you folks who are hating, don't like Trump, what they call the Trump derangement syndrome crowd, this should tell you Trump has a really good chance. There's a lot of liberals, true blue liberals, that may not support Biden. Wow. Going back to the box, I see in the comments, Eric Lindbergh on YouTube says MAGA. Hercules. Okay, all right. You are not going to get back everything old Biden has taken. Old Biden. Okay. Ted Cruz wants to stop Joe Biden's legislation to give refunds from the airlines. Okay, yeah. Thank you for the hat and mustache there, Miss Mo Better. Going back to the box. Wow, that was an interesting call, though. Wow, that was interesting. Let me continue the program on with Roadless Mindset. Good afternoon. By the way, folks, tap the screen on TikTok. Still got almost 750 of you here. Get the likes on up to 50,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. My YouTubers, feel free to smash that like button. Uncensored programming here. Roadless Mindset. Good afternoon.
Hey, Tim, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm trying to find out. We were asking. Now, you heard my last caller.
Yep.
Did I get it wrong? I mean, is he making sense? Whereas maybe Biden, with what's going on in Israel, isn't worth a second go round.
I don't really think so. It's kind of like, it's weird because of the fact that they're complaining about all this stuff going on in Israel, but then they're saying, oh, well, we want to focus our attention over here.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, he was for common sense gun laws. He was pro-choice. He was pro-LGBT. He favored Black Lives Matter. But he was going to skip over Biden, who was on the same side of him on every issue, because Biden is not on the same side of him with Israel. And that's not the country of origin for him. Here's what I don't get, and I'll let you continue. Israel is, or better yet, not Israel, but Gaza, where both the Palestinians and Hamas are, that they're defending, that's a right-wing entity. Hamas is not in favor of women's rights. They wouldn't be in favor of the LGBT community. Hamas is not going to be down with any of the left-wing causes. Yet the left is willing to sacrifice their own principles here in America for this group, that if Hamas was able to beat Israel and kick them out from the river to the you-know-what, they wouldn't even invite these fools to the victory celebration. Can you explain that?
Honestly, I can't. To me, it's kind of like people voting for Trump here in America. That we're just basically against a whole bunch of like stuff. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me when you kind of put it in that sense, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Hamas is a right-wing organization. They're not for religious freedom. They're, like I said, they're anti-LGBT. They're not for women's rights. All of these college students, the women that are walking around with this Hamas garb on, they would cover your whole damn face. Like, it makes no sense. I understand you're against genocide and things like that, but this group, from the river to the you-know-what, is preaching genocide. They're literally preaching it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you in that case, because to me it just kind of sounds like
idiotic.
Yeah,
it sounds like idiocy. It sounds like idiots in progress.
Exactly.
So is it safe to say that in November we're going to be celebrating the Trump victory just due to a bunch of idiots?
Possibly, because it's kind of like, have you ever seen that movie Idiocracy?
No, I didn't see it. No, I did not.
Well, that shows, it's kind of like Mike Judge is kind of like a prophet in a way, because it shows basically, excuse me, but white trash just taking over because they're breeding and breeding and breeding. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of like we have a Trump society like we have today, where they're just like believing the most outrageous thing, like, oh,
Kool-Aid is good to the soil and stuff. And when this one guy says, well, why don't we water the soil with water? And they're like, from the toilet? Because they're just used to drinking Gatorade and putting Gatorade on the crops, which killed the crops.
Oh my.
It's just becoming that idiocracy as we're experiencing right
But then
now.
I have to ask though, would America really be that bad off if Trump got reelected? Maybe with Trump talking about the economy and inflation, is it possible that he may be the better choice?
Well, he has no plan. Like he said he wants to bring back tariffs. You know, tariffs are always good for bringing prices down. You know?
Well, yeah, but the prices are up under Biden. We can call it price gouging or whatever, but under Biden, we're paying more.
You're going to increase those with tariffs. You know, it's not like they're going to go down with tariffs. You're just going to increase the cost even more.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, you're just increasing the cost. Then you're putting the guy in that wants immunity for policemen and a massive deportation. Hell, he might have deported Obama because he said, "Oh, it's Obama." Hussein Obama. He didn't even acknowledge that he had his birth certificate when he got him. Hell, deport him. He has an Arabic name, because in Dwight Eisenhower, they had a massive deportation, and a lot of Americans were deported to Mexico.
That's cold.
It's kind of like...
That's cold. He might have deported Obama.
His massive deportation, you don't know who's going to go.
But at the end of the day...
an African last name.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, when you look at how many millions of folks have come in here under Biden, some might ask, is a mass deportation under Trump, is that really that bad of an idea? I mean, some folks believe they're here taking resources, taking jobs. Some folks believe they're here committing crimes. Would it really be that bad of an idea to get all of these folks out of the country and then figure out who can come in legally?
Well, just make sure they're American citizens, because of the fact that when you're mentioning massive deportation, you don't know if your last name is a name that they're going to throw you out of the country for.
Well, but you mentioned the notion that Trump might deport Obama, or would have deported Obama. Don in the comments said, explain why Obama has a Connecticut Social Security number. First of all, how did you get that? How did you find out the Social Security number of the president? What are you running, a Nigerian scam? How did you find that information out?
Well, it's just the fact that, hell, a lot of the people that got deported during Dwight Eisenhower had Social Security numbers and stuff. It was just their last name that made them, that got them deported.
Yeah.
You don't know what characteristics they're looking for deportation. Are they going to actually look for immigrants, or are they going to look at the last name? Or you don't see President Trump, if he's reelected, as doing something based on race or origin like that, do you? Oh yeah, I definitely do. I believe he's racist.
Whoa! Based on what?
And based on, okay, this wasn't really brought out, but in, I think, 2016, do you know Milo Jovanovic or something like that? A neo-Nazi?
Never heard of him.
Okay, he calls Trump daddy. He was going to speak at Berkeley.
Okay.
But when Berkeley said, hey, we don't have the resources for you to speak here, Trump defended him and said, hey, you need to let him speak and stuff. And they're like, it's a racist forum. We don't have the security. And Trump's like, well, since that's going to happen, I'm going to pull your funding for letting you for not letting them speak. So that's like number one on a racist scale to me. And then in Charlottesville, hell, he took the side of the people with bats, had armor on, had nails in the bats.
Wow.
And he took their side compared to the peaceful protesters.
Well, he said there were good people on both sides.
Still, it's kind of like that person that ran that.
You don't have to explain it. Yeah, you shouldn't have said that. I don't disagree with you. I got to move it on the roll list. I do appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's
Appreciate
nice
you coming.
talking to you, Tim.
Anytime, man. Anytime. We're in the trenches here every day, all day. I'm not getting a lot of MAGA on this side. I'm about to get my YouTube platform up because I have been looking for some counter opinions. It's interesting today. It's been more kind of along those lines today. A little bit odd, but nevertheless, we will continue the program on. Looking in the comments on YouTube, oh man, forgive me for this one. That's bullshit. Just because you want to go and eat the Tide Pods doesn't mean we all want to. We don't see people either. We have our own ideas. Okay, toward the end of that, Derek, but I get the Tide Pods part, but towards the end of that, kind of lost context. Good luck, guys. I love you all. I will pray you seek Jesus. I don't hear him around here. We don't mind you speaking of the deity in your sins, but we will question you on a great channel. This is a great channel, says Larry S. Thank you for the accolade. By the way, if you favor this type of dialogue, we're here Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. Understand this is an uncensored program. We go left to Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. We are all about free speech. You're not always going to hear the opinion you favor. Everyone gets to speak. That's how we've always ran the program from day one. But we are MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, everyone is welcome. Continuing on, we'll go straight to the HR Gator. Good afternoon. Trump trade war started. The inflation, says user. I've heard that. Gator, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Good to have you back. We're talking. Go ahead.
No, I said yes. It is good to be back. Thank you.
Thank you for attending. So we're asking that question. Do you think Trump is guilty in regards to what's going on in New York, or are they trying to railroad him to prevent him from becoming president again?
Do I believe that he is guilty? My personal opinion would be yes. I will wait for the courts to shake that out, as is our judicial system. I have nothing else, so I have to choose to go with that right now, right?
Okay.
There's some problems, but you know what? I have to trust the process. That's what I'm doing.
If he's found guilty for this, do you really think he should do any serious time, or do you think there should be any serious discipline? Should this prevent him from running?
First of all, I think anyone that is a convicted felon of any sort should not even be allowed to be on a ballot. I think that we have lost our way. You can't work at the bank without a credit check. You can't work at McDonald's sometimes without a clear background. I don't understand why we would let the leader of the free world have a background. That's wild to me.
Well, the belief is that they're stretching the charges to make a felony out of what should be a misdemeanor or something that they would normally give another president a pass for.
Well, my question is I don't give a damn if he's a president. He's a person. So would anybody be given different charges? Has he already been favored in the lesser? See, we would have all been under the jail by now. Violate one gag order. They ain't going to do nothing for us. The only reason they keep giving him fines and fines and fines instead of putting him in jail is because they know everybody's going to freak out. If he steps foot in a jail cell, you are going to have people that lose their minds. And they're trying to put that off as long as they can. But none of us would be given the leniency.
Then why charge him then? If you're concerned with people freaking out, why charge him for the crime? I mean, any punishment you get, even if he's found guilty, those same people are going to be pissed.
Well, if you did the crime, you have to go through the process. That's it. I don't care who you are. Yeah. There shouldn't be immunity. is wild because then it gives just people a free pass. Like I was thinking the other day when we spoke, everybody has been saying when he says he gets in there day one, he's going to be a dictator for a day.
Yeah.
And the comment I keep hearing is he was just joking. Well, here's my sentiment to that for the last 6 damn years, however long we've been dealing with this now. Is anyone okay with the people who are picking up the phone and using it to call elderly people and scam them out of money? Is anyone okay with that?
Probably not.
Calling and doing that and scamming, right? So then no one really is okay with freedom of speech if it harms others. See, all those people are doing is making a phone call. See, if you're not smart enough or you're not educated enough or you don't have the knowledge behind you to know that that's a scam and you fall for it and you send them money, well, you just fell into that, right? But that was what they did, illegal. Yes?
But yeah, but here's what I want to ask, because I'm asking is, are you judging Trump fairly, or are you just coming from a liberal's perspective? And I'll tell you why I'm asking that. On the YouTube side of things, Midwest Fishing suggests this lady has blue hair. I would bet $100 on it. In other words, you're just a progressive talking this way because you hate Trump.
So I'm 41. I don't have blue hair. I could dye it blue, though, to support my son in the Navy if I wanted to. But no, I don't care about Trump any more than I care about Biden. They're two old white men in Washington fighting for the presidency. What I do care is for decency and having some common sense. If I have a president sitting there that cannot listen to one single person he himself has hired, and the second they tell him, no, sir, that is wrong, you can't do that, and he goes, meh, and he does it anyways, and then he tells us he's draining a swamp. Well, he hired them all. Everyone that is good testifying against him is his. What are you doing? What are we doing? Why are we not? Everybody keeps saying, show me proof. How will you accept your proof? If it's not in the people he hired himself to testify against him, if it's not in the people he surrounded himself with, if it's not the people he endorsed, if it's not those people then turning and going, no, listen, guys, we did lie about this. No, we did put out a fake story. No, we did do this. No, we did try to, make it seem as though we did try to just find votes. Like, we know it already happened.
Well,
what kind of proof can we provide that would be accepted?
But when you mention all the folks that were in Trump's inner circle, Christy Durrington on YouTube stated that it's an establishment that he has trusted and shouldn't have. In other words, the folks you're talking about that were around Trump that don't speak favorably of him anymore, the Barrs, the Pences, the Scaramucci's, the Ambassador Bowdens, they're part of the establishment. And Trump made the mistake of, trusting all these folks when he really should not have.
Damn, it sounds like he's not qualified to be president then. I mean, he had a lot of other people helping him pick those people too, if he was listening. I don't know why people assume that Trump sat down at the kitchen table by himself and was just like, you know what, my friend Tom, I've always wanted to give him a job. And Becky, she needs to come work over here too. No, he's going to be the damn president of the United States back then. He had people around him. He has advisors. He has people far smarter than him. He repeatedly chooses not to listen to them. Yeah. So everyone he hired, almost everyone he hired, he fired. And he did it over and over and over again. He didn't run through one cycle. See, it's not that he surrounded him people and he trusted them. How many times did he fire a person in the same position he had hired somebody for over and over and over again in the White House?
No, then her counterpoint is what? So we can't make mistakes and can't, she says, so you can't make mistakes and be president? Well, then we would never have a president, suggesting that, yeah, he made a few mistakes, but they all do occasionally.
Well, I understand that. I mean, believe me, I'm in HR and have been for 20 years. If you think that I haven't picked a bad egg every now and then, I absolutely have. But it's also been my responsibility to get rid of that bad egg. So no matter what. So if.
So what do you think? What do you think of Biden? Do you think Biden's doing a good job?
Oh man, listen.
That ain't sounding good.
Listen, I think he'd probably be a really nice neighbor. I think that I would enjoy his company next door.
Listen, I'm a man. I'd rather have Trump as a neighbor. At least the parties are going to be wild. What about...
Listen, the parties would be sicker, but you know what? There also would probably be evidence, and it would probably go to trial later. So I'm not trying to go to that party, you know?
Oh, no.
I can't say that I know that the economy is doing great. It's statistics. It's not my feelings. I didn't come into this a millionaire with, Trump in his presidency and made a bunch of money. I didn't come into a Biden presidency and lose a bunch of money because I've had a son that had medical needs. I've had to file bankruptcy twice in 20 years for over $500,000. Wow. I had to save his life because our medical system is broken. So they said, Mom, he can't have it because you can't afford it. And I said, bet. Guess what? He did have it. He will have it. I'd do it again and again. I didn't lose any money. Everything's more expensive. Of course, we've had a global, not United States, a global pandemic, global supply chain issues. It takes 3 days for every 1 day of missed work to catch up. I don't understand why people don't understand us being down almost a freaking year or more in some areas would not have long-lasting effects. He doesn't control the price of gas. He doesn't control the price of bread.
Well...
He has influence in certain supply chain. They make deals. They make so many damn deals we don't even know about. We still all act so arrogant, like we know everything they do. There is under table deals, handshaking deals. You do this, I do that. We don't even know, but we're so arrogant. We think we do. And so I just sit here and go, you know what? I can only make opinions based on the information I have in front of me. Everything else is circumstantial, or I don't have access to it. Because I don't have the clearance to sit at that table to know why decisions are made.
All right, fair enough. I do got to move it on. So is it safe to say you will be sitting this one out?
Oh, hell no. I'll vote for Biden over Trump every day. No. I have to sit here and go, what is the best of my choices? And I have to go with that. And then I have to sit with it. And I have the consequence of my decision. I voted for Trump the first time. I will never make that mistake again.
Really? You voted for Trump?
I absolutely did. I absolutely did. In 2016, I voted for Trump.
Why didn't you vote for him again?
Because I saw what happened. Done. I saw proof. I don't need anything. I saw it happening. I was watching the TV, folding clothes. I will never forget. Listening to boats on the river outside, a beautiful day, while the whole time my TV, I was watching January 6th. In horror, like I was watching another country. I was watching the television the same way I have every time.
But wait a minute, you voted for him against Hillary Clinton. When January 6th happened, there was an election a couple months before January 6th. Did you vote for him the second time?
I absolutely did not.
Why not?
No. Because I saw the rhetoric, the division, the hatefulness. I'm not interested. You're dividing people. You're making people mad. You're emboldening people to be able to feel like they can say whatever they want. I spent a long time teaching my little kids, you don't say that. That's ugly. Don't call people names. Don't say that. We've all spent our whole life, been raised by mothers, grandmothers, fathers, uncles, everybody, our whole lives, not to be ugly to people. And then we have somebody that comes in and is just ugly as hell. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not doing it. Done.
All right. And your opinion is quite popular among some of the folks who I've talked to that voted for Trump and decided not to on a second go round. Nevertheless,
it's
HR. Huh?
It's pretty unpopular too. Don't worry.
Oh, it's more unpopular than it is popular. But for Trump supporters that voted for him in 16 and didn't vote for him in 20, it's generally what you just stated. Yeah.
It's just I just had to watch myself. I just have to hear myself. That's all I need. I don't need everybody else give me opinions. I don't just lean on the news. I will go read indictment. I will get my glasses on, get my Diet Coke, sit down and be like, all right, what's this say? Because I don't want anything to say. I want to read it.
All right, fair enough. I got to move it on. But 9 Lee in the comments says Biden needs to use your statement on the campaign trail. I think the Lincoln Project has used it, but he's saying that people like you Biden needs to be interviewing people like you. HR Gator, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Anytime.
Bye-bye.
Looking in the comment section, the best of my choices is Biden. Ma'am, you're wasting your time with this man. He is unrealistic. I know. He don't know what day of the week it is. User, let me just say this. There's a lot of reasons if you're on the right not to like Biden. I'm not going to pretend like Biden is a damn Superman. There's a lot of reasons on the right not to like Biden. But I do strongly believe that dementia, not knowing where he's at, can't string, that's hyped up. I'm not saying Biden is as alert as a 20-year-old, but I do believe that the right has painted Biden to literally sound like Rodney Dangerfield and be moving around like Michael J. Fox. He's not that fucked up, which is why he knocked it out the park during the State of the Union address. It's not that he done a fantastic job. It's just that MAGA lowered the bar so damn low for President Biden. If he can walk up, shake your hand, and have a decent conversation, he's echelons more than what MAGA has portrayed him to be. I think you're helping Biden out by portraying him as such a bumbling buffoon that doesn't know where he's at. You're overdoing it. You're overdoing it. He's not that far out of it. If he was that far out of it, you'd have world leaders and liberals even saying that maybe this guy is not safe. They're not doing that. Even the Lindsey Grahams and folks on the right, you don't hear Mitch McConnell, who's auditioning for Frozen 3 himself. You don't hear them saying that Biden is out of it. It's mostly people doing it through the TV. Joan Ross with the first super chat on YouTube, 99% of the time, they were for the policy they put in for Americans in the Trump presidency. I don't understand why people think this way. I don't quite get your comment. 99% of the time, they were for the policies Trump put in for Americans. I don't understand. I've said this before. I get his point. 99% of the time, most Americans favor what Trump was doing, but you don't understand why people think this way. Well, I've said it many times. If Trump didn't run his mouth and stay on Twitter 3 a.m. on the damn toilet, I think he would have probably won a second term. It ain't the way Trump was running America legislative-wise is why people are not voting for him. It's the mouth. It's the stuff we've been trying to tell folks on the right, my beloved MAGA. It's the stuff you've been trying to convince folks to ignore the entire time since Trump has been on the scene. Pay attention to what he does, not what he says. Fuck your feelings. Don't vote based on emotion. You know Trump is triggering emotions. That's why you're telling people to ignore their emotions. Because you know Trump is deliberately bullying people and trying to piss them off. MAGA has tried their best to get folks to actually put their hands over their ears. Because they even know. I get a lot of Trump supporters. I love Trump. I'm voting for him. But I wish he'd get off Twitter. I wish he wouldn't talk so much. I don't know how anyone could lead this nation and have the citizens ignore the words coming out of their mouths. Sometimes you got to spread the wealth around. Remember that? Obama talking to Joe the plumber? Or if you want your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Another Obama statement. Read my lips, no new taxes. George H.W. I did not have sex with that woman. Bill Clinton. You name it. They all got statements that hurt their presidencies. All of a sudden, Trump comes along and none of his statements should matter. Doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. What you say does matter. Trying to convince folks that they shouldn't listen to Trump, in my opinion, is backwards. What folks should be doing, and I'm talking about the Sean Hannitys, the late Rush Limbaughs, and the folks on the right, what you should be doing is trying to convince Trump that he shouldn't make those statements. Nervous Nancy, Crazy Bernie, Sleepy Joe, Bird Brain Nikki, none of that makes America great again. If your goal is to make America great again, you can do it without any of that stuff. Instead of applauding and cheering that stuff on so that you later have to beg liberals and independents to ignore it, why not boo it when Trump is saying it? Trump is doing this because he gets an audience. It works for him. He's not going to continue with the same material if it is bombing, such as when he was suggesting people get vaccinated. The moment he realized that was bombing, he didn't run that same material anymore. If you booed the names and told him to stick to the policies that you like, you could probably get him again. You shouldn't laugh at that stuff. It's not helping his presidency. It's not. Looking in the comments, where is the lie, Tim? We're just sick of the lies. There is a way to tell the truth tactfully, even if you're not lying as you state. Now, the idea that Trump never lied is kind of humorous in nature in itself, but let's say Trump is always truthful. Your spouse could ask you, how do I look in this dress? Maybe when you're looking at her in that dress, you instantly imagine a bag of leaves. Maybe a Porky Pig or something like that. You don't come out and say that shit. Honey, the dress is kind of unflattering. Fred Patterson. Thank you for the subscription, Fred Patterson. I don't get those often, but I am always certainly happy to see that. I see you in the comments. I'll bring you right up. Fred Patterson, thank you for that subscription. I haven't had one of those in a few weeks. Thank you. But in regards to telling the truth, if you want to suggest that Trump tells the truth, you're tired of the bullshit, there is a way to tell the truth. Certainly, if you want the country to do better, telling the truth while trying to piss people off, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. So he can tell the truth, but he can do it tactfully. Carlos Camacho, thank you for the super chat, said the lady lied, though. She said January 6th influenced her choice. 2 months after Election Day. She said January 6th influenced her choice, but it happened 2 months after Election Day. That you are correct, but I immediately brought that up to her, that January 6th, there was an election 2 months before. And she corrected it by saying all of the other things, the division. She brought up other things. She mentioned hate and things like that. So you are correct in your statement, but it was covered while we were talking. Going back to the box, and thank you, Carlos Camacho. Hispanic, there's another. We get a lot of women, MAGA, female MAGA. Camacho, is that native or is that Hispanic? Camacho, Camacho. Sounds kind of, is it Hispanic? Let me know. Maybe I'm wrong. And I don't want to insult nobody, so let me know. Going back to the box, Robin Laredo. Good afternoon. Mindy, says Pep. Good afternoon, Robin.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. We're talking about President Trump on trial in New York. Is he being railroaded?
I believe some of it is, but some of it is his fault also. I mean, we're not all blinded to everything that's going on. I think some of it was padded. Now, do they need to go after Biden's family? Yes, they do, because of what Hunter did with his laptops and all of that with the...
Why didn't that happen under Trump, though, Robin? Trump came to power suggesting that the election was stolen, suggesting that Hillary Clinton was crooked, Biden. Why didn't he do any of this when he had the nation's highest office? Why didn't he do it?
All of the politicians are crooked. I mean, come on now.
You think Trump is crooked too?
Yeah, all of them are crooked. I mean, they're in there for power for themselves and not for us as the people that put them in there. They don't care about what we want as us as Americans. They all they do is underhanded stuff. All of them. But they make a career out of it.
But folks are suggesting that Trump is for the people and that it is Biden and the Democrats that are for themselves. And they're just literally taking the people for granted. Folks suggest that Trump is for the common man. What say you?
He is more for us than the Democrats, for sure.
Okay.
Because Democrats want everything to be open. There has to be a common ground. And the politicians that we have in office, there's no common ground as this point in time, because it's all for themselves. They give themselves.
Is that a helicopter? What are you filming? You filming an episode of MASH over there? Is that a helicopter?
Hold on. Oh my God, that was flying really, really close to my phone.
You want to run from the law?
But all of the politicians are for themselves. They make it a career. There should be term limits on the politicians. They should not be able to increase their pay if they're in office. Whatever our minimum wage is in the state that you're representing, I believe that's what you should get paid an hour.
Wait a minute. You believe a congressman or woman should get paid minimum wage?
Yes, let them live like regular people.
Who the hell would do that? No.
Because a politician, their job was never to be a career. That's supposed to be a part-time thing.
But Robin, you do realize folks like Gabby Gifford have been shot doing that job. They tried to kill Nancy Pelosi's husband. Would you do that for minimum wage?
If you had to do it for what your state makes, you would do what's right for the people and not what's right for yourself.
We're being
then you would see.
Go ahead.
But you gotta. I mean, you gotta look at it like being a congressman was never intended for that to be your career. That's supposed to be a part-time thing that you do. That's not supposed to be your job.
Now you lean
but
right.
Am I taking it too far?
Now you lean right. Am I correct?
Actually, I'm a Democrat, but I go more toward. I'm a conservative Democrat, I guess.
What are you from the era? I haven't heard of a conservative Democrat since the era of slavery. Who did you vote for in the last election? Trump versus Biden?
I voted for Trump.
Trump versus Hillary Clinton?
I voted for Hillary.
Fuck. So you voted for.
I also voted twice for Obama.
Okay, you are. That is weird. And so I guess the second thing I would do is pro-choice or pro-life.
I am pro-life.
Okay. Second Amendment?
I believe the Second Amendment, yes, because I like my guns. Okay. The guns is not what kills. People kill, not the guns, not the pew-pews. So it's not the pew-pew's fault. It's the people that have it in their hands. So here's my thing. If you discipline your children, if you talk to your children, if you have morale in your life, if you have a family structure, then you don't have to worry about all of this.
How do you feel about legalizing cocaine?
That would be a no.
Cocaine don't kill people. It's up to you. Drugs don't kill people. People using drugs irresponsibly kills people. A bag of schmack will not jump off the table and kill you. If you're in favor of guns under the guise that guns don't kill people unless somebody's using it irresponsible, does that not apply to drugs as well?
It does, but it also harms your body. It puts you into a state of mind that you're not able to control.
And a bullet won't do the same thing?
Yes, but it's like...
Take your time.
All of the drugs, whether you believe that it's natural or not natural, I just don't think that you should be able to harm your body in that sort of way.
But you can pick up you can't pick up a crack pipe and smoke drugs, but you can pick up an AR-15. I'm not getting the difference.
Because I wouldn't do the AR-15. I just do
I wouldn't do the AR-15 or the drugs. But if you're for personal responsibility, why does it stop at guns? Why can't a person get high if they want to? You're okay with me being able to have a lot of firepower on me, but I can't have a bag of schmack? I don't get it.
Because the firepower is going to be there to protect you. Okay. The drugs is there to harm you. Drugs harm your body.
Not if you're using... drugs are no more harmful than firearms if you use them responsible. If you think I can be responsible with an AR-15 and infinite magazines, why can't I be responsible with a few lines of coke? Why can't I? I mean, you can do both responsibly.
Because when you do drugs, you're not in your right state of mind.
That's your opinion, though. Some would suggest when you go out and buy a 100 round magazine, you ain't in your right state of mind. It depends on the person who's viewing it.
And that is true. It's subjectively, but I don't do I personally, nor my husband, we don't smoke because it's harmful to your body.
Okay.
We don't do drugs, harmful to your body.
Okay.
We don't drink alcohol, harmful to your body. So we don't do any of that. So I would never put that into my system to where I can't sit and think logically. Because if you are high and you're driving a car, your reflexes are not where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, but
so you are putting everybody else around you in harm by you driving not in your proper state of mind. Your reflexes are slowed, your mental stability is slowed, everything is slowed, and that's proven.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that, but here is the issue. You're assuming that the gun owner is going to be responsible, but the drug user is not. They're going to go drive a car. How do I know you're not going to go to school with your gun and dismiss the whole class permanently? I'm trusting you with the gun, but you're going to assume I'm going to be driving high with the drugs. Why don't the drug user get the same benefit of the doubt as the gun owner?
Because it's a morale point of view.
It's you consider it morally okay to own enough firepower to take out the whole block and call that what, self-defense? You got an AR, you got 1,000 rounds, and you live in a neighborhood where there's not even 1,000 people. Where's the morals in that?
But if you're driving in your vehicle, because I do have a concealed handgun license, I took safety classes. So if you're having guns, then you should know how to use them properly.
Yeah, I get that, but that's the same. But that applies
because I don't go out shooting my gun just anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is if you're in favor of people having something that is dangerous, as long as they're responsible, I don't see why drugs is not in the conversation. It should qualify. It can be dangerous, but as long as you use it responsible, you'll be okay, just like with the AR-15.
But if you get into drugs, you're not going to be able to keep that same responsibility because it overpowers you. It takes away your mind. It takes away, and you're wanting more, and you're wanting more till you can't stop. As to whereas a gun, you can say, okay, you know what? I don't need to use this.
If you're going, yeah, but you do realize there are people who do drugs, hard drugs, and they never reach that point. And there are gun owners who cannot stop buying guns. They can't even tell their wives because they don't want them to know, I just bought another gun when I was on vacation this week, honey. There are gun users that can be addicts.
And that is true. That's very true.
All right. So you just favor guns and you don't favor drugs. I get your point. I'm just simply saying that most of the arguments in defense of guns can be made in defense of drugs.
You're correct. It's a state of mind.
Yeah.
To what it is you know that you can control that. When you start doing drugs, sooner or later, the drugs are going to overtake your body, overtake your mind. And then you're going to be stealing from your wife. You're going to be in debt. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing this just for the next hit.
Yeah, but Robin, do you realize how many depressed individuals in America use a gun to take their lives every year? I mean, you talk about the mind going crazy with drugs. There are a lot of folks get pissed off. They got laid off from their job, or or their wife divorced them. Cops in general, former military in general, people who are trained to deal with firearms, they swallow pistols damn near daily. So we're still in the same ballpark comparing drugs to guns.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I agree on that way. But like I said, it's how I feel, but I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I took gun classes, so I am in my right state of mind.
Okay.
That I'm not just going to go out and pew pew here and pew pew there. But then again, like I said, it does go back to how you view yourself, how you view your family. It goes back to morale. All of this stems back to morale on how you conduct yourself, how you
Yeah,
maintain yourself.
So if I go take so if you go and take gun classes, so you're responsible with a gun. If I go in, let's say for instance, I'm a biologist or a chemist, and I'm responsible with drugs, Breaking Bad style. Should drugs be legal for someone who is taking drug classes and can show they're responsible?
But you can't do that because it's going to overpower you.
That's your opinion. That's
my opinion. Correct. It's my opinion that you're going to lose the battle to the drug. And you also can lose the battle to the guns. That is correct. But you're more apt to lose the battle to the drugs at a quicker rate than you would be to the guns.
I don't know. If you lose the battle to the gun, you're going to die instantly. You can overdose many times and come back from drugs. The gun takes you out instantly.
Correct.
All right. I think it's more a matter of, even though I know guns can be dangerous like drugs, I favor guns, so I'm okay with making guns legal. I don't favor drugs, so I'll make them illegal. I think you're just picking which dangerous item you're okay with.
That could be because I see drugs as more of an evil, because it does take away from the home. It does break up families more amped than guns do, because people are more likely to get addicted to the drugs and not get addicted to the guns as easily as they do the drugs.
I don't know, Robin. I'd rather, but I will tell you this. Even if a person is addicted on drugs, you can bring them back a lot easier than somebody who's been shot in the head. I think that the guns are far more dangerous than you're giving them credit for. You just see responsibility in gun owners and irresponsibility in drug users. I think you just favor one over the other. I don't favor legalizing drugs, by the way, but I'm just pointing out that most of the arguments made in favor of guns could easily be made in favor of drugs, just for shits and giggles. But I do got to move it on, Robin. Interesting conversation for sure. You're always welcome back. Okay. All right. She must have stepped away. All right. We're moving on, though. Responsibility of both is a thing. Yeah, I agree with that. Wendy says, hey, Tim, that car you're sitting in is as dangerous as well. True. The car has quite a bit of ability to take lives, but it's not even in the same realm as a gun. I mean, if I wanted to take out a school with my car, it's going to be a lot more challenging. And it's a lot easier to stop, by the way. You just put cement pylons around a damn school, and there goes that. You're not going to, look, at the end of the day, you can ban guns and people can always find another way to take a life. I 100% agree with that statement. However, what they don't tell you is you're not going to find the same success rate. People choose guns to take a life for a simple reason. It's the most effective at doing it. If you have to choose something else, you're not going to have the same success rate. I mean, you see your enemy hanging out on a basketball court or something, and I want to take his life. Take the gun out of your hand. What other weapon? Well, I could choose a knife and run up to him. Well, he may be stronger than you. I could use my car. He may hear the car coming. A firearm, as long as you can aim okay, doesn't matter if he see you coming from a block away, he still can't get away from you. A firearm is just more effective at killing. You can find other ways, but the firearm is more effective at doing it. Also, most trauma surgeons would tell you it's also harder to undo the damage, because we don't design cars to kill people. They can do it. We design firearms so that the bullets break up, they rip tissue. They are designed to kill. So you're not going to get that choosing other methods. It's just not going to be as effective. Bombs, you name it. Nothing is as effective at taking a life as a gun. That's why people keep choosing it over every damn thing else. Not to mention the ability to equalize, so that a 12-year-old can go take out a bunch of classmates when most other weapons would not give him the power to do that. There is something to be said about the power dynamic as well. Going back to the box, what is this? I can't pronounce that. Majesty. Something is the reason they choose it. I don't get what you're saying there, but are you a lawyer? I love the debate from both sides, says Melvin. A lawyer sitting in his damn car between my gig? No, but I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Think of me as Trump and be kind to contribute to my legal fees. Feel free to donate to the program. Thank you for the question. Looking in the comment, bro, how's your head? So square, I'm genuinely impressed. I've never been told I had a square head. All right, fair enough. Do you think something major will happen this election like January 6th? 70-30. 70. I'll go back to the box, tap the screen, get me on up to 80,000 on TikTok. My YouTubers, feel free to smash that like button. Subscribe to the program if you will. Uncensored dialogue from a civilized perspective, but feel free to smash that subscribe button, like button if you will on YouTube. Tap the screen, get me on up to around 80,000 in the like category on TikTok. Before we go back to the box, the question was, do I think another January 6th could happen? My response instantly, 70-30, in favor of it happening. 70-30 in favor of January 6th happening. Two reasons. One being obvious. If Trump loses, he didn't lose. Don't give a damn who says what. Many folks who support Trump believe he was so effective at running this country, there's no way in hell he would lose unless the Democrats cheat. And there are millions of people that think that way. Millions. You don't need a lot of people fleeing, a few thousand there, 100,000 at the most. There was only a few thousand people there. There are millions of people who believe that Trump was so effective at running this country. The only way Democrats could win is if they cheat. And at least 10 to 15% of those folks would be capable of standing up in January 16 in his honor. Now, it could happen also if Trump actually wins legally. A lot of women are pissed off with what's going on with women in terms of rolling back Roe v. Wade. Now, the argument is we're not taking away anybody's damn rights. It's all about returning the rights to the state. Let me tell you right off the bat, that's flat out bullshit. If you are in favor of protecting the sanctity of the unborn, protecting the life of the unborn, you're not going to be okay with someone crossing a river or going down the road to another state and having it done. If you're for protecting babies, you're for protecting babies. The idea it can be done 20 miles down the road, you're going to turn the blind eye to that. That's bullshit. The moment you have the ability to control what's happening 20 miles down the road, you're going to do that too. So the idea that nobody is intending to do this federally is a fat load of hot shit. Pence, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and Trump have all come out and said it could happen federally. They're trying to convince you not to pretend like you didn't hear that. If Beto O'Rourke, running for, what is he running for, Senate now in Texas, ran for governor or whatever, remember when he yelled out, "You're damn right, we're going to take away your guns"? You think if he had became governor of Texas, people would have believed they're only trying to take away your guns in Texas? No. What is the saying? If you get a liberals an inch on the Second Amendment, they'll take a mile. Republicans have won an inch on Roe v. Wade, on abortion rights, but are begging you not to believe they intend to take the mile, knowing damn well they would feel the same way if the situation was reversed. The federal abortion ban is a real thing. They just need the position to do it. You don't have to be a liberal to understand that. If you're on the right, you know damn well that's the goal, but it is considered saying the quiet part out loud. So you can't say it, but the goal is a federal abortion ban. You'd be an idiot to think otherwise. And in the comments, right in 22 says because it saves lives. Exactly. If your goal is to save the life of the unborn, you want it saved in liberal states too. Going back to the box, Miss Mo Betta, thank you for holding. Miss Mo Betta, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, so
You call a lot of your callers were all over the place today, Tim.
that's what we like. We like free speech. It's everywhere.
No. I said that because they were like, "Oh well, I'm a conservative, but I lean to the right, to the left," and it was just funny,
Yeah.
comical.
I get a lot of that. So what do you think? You think Trump's guilty of being railroaded?
No, I believe he's guilty. I do. I believe he's guilty. He's just been getting away with this stuff for so long till they feel like, oh, well, why prosecute him now? They want to say, oh, because he's running for president and, this rabbit hole and witch hunt. And you see, he creates a lot of words.
They work.
Not really he just started using a lot of words when it comes to presidency. You know what I mean? So
it works. You can't blame him. It's working. How many folks that support Trump?
It is working. That's the scary part, because he knows that he's going to have people buy into that. He said, I got to keep the same way you get him is the same way you have to keep him. So if he does lose, again, I see a January 6th happening again.
What if he wins? What if he wins, though?
Oh, only God knows what'll happen.
So the liberals are capable of that too.
They are, but you don't hear them saying that, oh, well, we're going to go and storm the Capitol. We're going to fight like hell. Like, fight to do what? Get locked up? Like, who you going to fight to do? Make it make sense. Like, what the fuck? Like, What are you going to do? Because and those idiots that bought into that thing that Trump didn't lose, that it was stolen, you got people sitting in jail with numbers. Years they got to do in jail. Y'all don't see that as evidence?
Well, they look at the people sitting in jail, as Trump called them, hostages. You've heard of the phrase, give me liberty or give me death, that these were patriots willing to sacrifice their own freedom in defense of liberty. That's how they view it.
And you know what? And I say they full of shit. Because like I said, they'll walk past a homeless man and wouldn't even give them $1 if they said that they were hungry. Wow. So again, the hypocrisy is crazy in this country, because you only spew things like that. Oh, give me liberty or give me death when it appeases you. Other than that, you don't give a shit. Why don't we get this kind of thing to help with student loan forgiveness and health care and Social Security? You don't hear people fighting for that like that. You ain't storming the Capitol for stuff like that. You talk about because this idiot lost. He lost. Newsflash, he lost.
They don't believe that.
I know. And that's what makes him the Pied Piper. That's why I call him the Pied Piper. You know how they blow that flute and they just start following? He'll say that one thing out of his mouth and they say, oh, well, this is just a witch hunt. And they're just bothering him because they know he's going to win the election or that he won. Like that stuff, it sounds stupid.
Well, he is suggesting, and many that support him are suggesting, that they're going after him for things that other presidents have been allowed to get away with, though.
Prove it.
Well, Kevin O'Leary often on television with Letitia James suggesting that, the Letitia James case where Trump was ordered to pay $335 million, that other businessmen in New York have been doing that same thing for years.
So go after them. Go get them too. I listen, I'm all for justice. I'm all for whatever's right. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all allow them to get away with it, they're going to do the same thing like Trump has been getting away. But like I say all the time, I'm going to speak in the eye. Like I say all the time, when you're in a higher position, you're going to be held at a higher standard. You can't be representing millions and millions of people and out here criminals. So guess what? They're going to look at everybody else as criminals, because this is what your country voted in. This is what they allowed to happen. So we're going to treat y'all like criminals. You're criminals.
So at the end of the day, believing that January 6th could happen again, what do we do going into November? I mean, because some folks do believe that Trump's going to win. Others believe he's going to lose badly. I mean,
it's a real possibility that he can win. I mean, and I'd be a fool to think anything otherwise. Do I want him to win? No, because he's already told me what his agenda was, and it wasn't anything about fair pricing on anything. His thing is about dictatorship and me getting myself immunity and freeing the so-called hostages that he called those people.
But for your life personally, Ms. Mobetta, for your own personal life, what do you fear? What is your biggest concern if Trump is president again? Giving the January 6 hostages a pardon, that's not going to affect you personally at all. What do you fear most if Trump is reelected?
Again, because the rhetoric that he's speaking, when he talk, and I'm right now, I'm speaking as a black woman. I'm speaking as a black woman, not just a woman. Mm-hmm. As a black woman, when you talk about giving police complete immunity,
yeah.
We know what and I have a son that's in law enforcement. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not biased about this stuff. But when we go back and check the records of how the police have treated black people, not just black men, but black women as well, to say that they can do that and get away with it, it's crazy. And as far as the immigrants go, or illegals, or whatever you want to call them, it's gonna be you're gonna see a lot of unalived people on the streets of America. That's not safe for anybody. You understand what I'm saying?
So it almost sounds like you're suggesting that if we give immunity to law enforcement, they're going to go ballistic and start committing a bunch of crimes.
It's gonna be haywire, and they're gonna like, oh well, they did, and they can make up any story to say that it was justified. Yeah. They know they're not gonna get in trouble for it. They're already getting away with it. So it's like for you to say, here, go have at it. That's gonna be a dangerous situation, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I want to ask you this before I move it on. If you think it's that bad that the police will get that rowdy, why do you think Trump would offer them immunity to begin with?
Because he's looking for somebody to protect him. So he's like, all right, let me... See, he's another one that flip-flops when he talks. You know what I'm saying? So the first time he's pro-choice, pro-life, now he's pro-choice and stuff like that. Before it's like, oh, we're going to stop. We're not going to support the back to blue. We're not going to do that. Now you want to give them full immunity and stuff. Like, he is all over the place talking. Let's give me some solidarity. Show me... Tell me, because you can't really show me anything right now. Tell me what it is that a real plan going forward. He really has no real plan, in my opinion. He hasn't given me anything that say, all right, let's give him another shot. He hasn't given me any of that.
What about Biden?
He ain't really saying much of nothing either.
You sitting it out?
I'm just gonna have to see what else is on the ballot. I gotta weigh my options now. Let me see what else is available.
So you're not necessarily saying you're sitting out the election, but you're not for sure you're voting for Trump or Biden.
Right. I'm not sure yet. I'm on the fence. I'm not voting for Trump, period. I get that part.
But you might not vote for Biden either.
But I have to weigh my options as far as the Biden goes. I have to see what else I have available. Again, I'm not gonna sit it out. I'm gonna vote, because if I'm not gonna vote, then I shouldn't be up here talking. I should shut my mouth. You know what I'm saying? Right. And sit in my living room and talk to myself.
But you may vote for someone else that's not Trump or Biden.
Yeah, we'll see. I gotta do a little more research and see what's available.
And you do understand, based on the opinions you just gave, if you don't vote for Biden, you're helping Trump out, because none of them other people have a damn bit of a chance to win.
Well, see, that I do know. So that's what I'm saying. If I didn't have any other choices, I would be voting for Biden. I will be voting for him. You know what I'm saying? So, but I know it sounds a little crazy. I probably sound like
it does, but keep going.
I know it sounds a little crazy. I'm gonna check myself on that. But if it means taking votes from Biden to vote for somebody else, then I would vote for Biden. Right. I definitely won't be voting for Trump. And our Kennedy, he keeps saying he's Democratic, but he's not.
Okay, fair enough. Hi, Miss Mobetta. You drive a hard bargain, but you know it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Indeed.
Absolutely. All right, moving the program on. Wow, I've had 3. Now, I haven't had any MAGA on today. I've been trying to find them, but here's the issue, though. I've had 3 left-leaning individuals, I think 1 or 2 of them were actual progressives, that are suggesting that they either are not going to vote for Biden, or like in her case, a little bit shaky on it. Folks, Trump is going to win. I tell you, maybe it's time we all get on the Trump train. If this is representative of enough liberals, it's time for you folks to endorse the fact that Trump is going to win. Not necessarily due to votes, but due to liberals maybe not showing up. So for all my Trump 2024 folks in the audience, this sip is for you. Wow, that's three of them. And I haven't had a lot of strong MAGA today, despite my effort. I'm not getting MAGA, but I'm getting liberals that are basically going to help elect MAGA. It's an interesting program today. Very interesting. You need to run for president. I will vote for you, says Apple user. Wow, thank you. I can't run. I got too many skeletons in my closet that I don't know about, I'm sure. Because I always say, if you don't have any skeletons in your closet, they'll hire an archaeologist and put a few bones in there. I don't know what might come out, but I'm sure there's something there. Maybe I got in an argument in first grade or some shit like that. Shit, maybe I was born in Ghana. Who knows what the hell may come out. I always say, all my skeletons in my closet are big bone. Look at in the comments. Gen X, thank you for the super chat. When they figure out they can't beat Trump, they may take him out. Whoa. Then be worried. American Civil War 2.0 will. Now, I don't want to entertain civil unrest in America. But Gen Xer is right. Now, to me, starting civil unrest because Trump lost the election is fucking ridiculous. But if he is taken out by way of a firearm or something like that, assassination, yeah, that's different. That is different. And he's stating that, the liberals are getting worried that they can't beat him, so they may try to take him out. Then be worried American Civil War 2.0 will likely become a reality. Scary shit. I'm just going to tell you this. And maybe I'm being biased because I lean left politically on a lot of issues. I think if a president is taken out, the person behind the trigger is probably going to lean right. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think the person behind the trigger is going to be a left-leaning tree hugger. It's generally somebody who leans right, if you ask me. I don't buy that a liberal would do that. I can see MAGA doing it pretty damn quickly. By the way, think about who's all talking about potential civil unrest. It's overwhelmingly folks who lean right. Folks who lean left are not talking about that. It's overwhelmingly folks who lean right. Not to say it can't happen. There could be a liberal or progressive to do something like that. But overwhelmingly, the people who are talking about civil unrest, prepping, getting prepared, buying ammunition, weapons, they lean right. They overwhelmingly lean right. So I'd be surprised. But in the comments, the one and only Sandra K. Ward, I love your content as well, says, you are wrong on that, Tim. A bunch of liberals, huh? Really? Go on MSNBC and they talking about shooting up the place, huh? All over Huffington Post, a bunch of feminists out buying guns. I have not heard it. I just going to say I have not heard of that one. LGBT, maybe a transgender woman hiding a pistol under the garter belt, huh? I have not heard about that. It's the folks that are talking about they're proud to be boys and they're keeping their oath. I'm hearing more of that than I am on the liberal side of the aisle. But maybe I'm hearing things that the Honorable Sandra K. Ward is not. Looking in the comments, unions with Biden. The union, I think that most unions, labor unions, are pro-Democrat, with the exception of the Border Patrol union. Looking in the comments real quick. Thank you guys for tapping the screen. We should have been 85, 90,000 on the likes. A lot of lazy thumbs here for this uncensored broadcast. Not a lot of support today. You guys are breaking my heart. What is the song? Don't Go Breaking My Heart. You guys are breaking my heart. I can't get you to tap the screen for a little bit of free speech dialogue among friends. Really? Can't get you to tap. Now, the YouTube a little bit better, although MJ is in the comments calling me a clown. I don't have on the makeup today, but appreciate your input. No resurrection for Orange Jesus. Yikes. Dude, your liberal government attempts coups and overthrows government opponents in other countries. Are you kidding me? You can't see a liberal assassination, liberal government overthrowing governments and attempting coups. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in other places other places on the globe, but I'll tell you this: a lot of folks don't understand what being a liberal is. Now, when you look at America, pro-LGBT, feminism, pro-women's rights, pro-choice, common sense gun legislation. What other country on earth has that same mindset that's doing what this gentleman talked about? A lot of folks consider places like China or some of these hardcore factions in Africa to be liberal. That's not liberal. Folks will say, well, they got socialism or they promote Marxism. That means they're liberal. No, that just means that you believe liberals are Marxists, which you're probably wrong on. And you're tired, when you look at what the liberals in America stand for, I don't know what other country on earth has done what you're stating, attempted a coup, overthrow the government opponents in other countries. Where is that? Give me a country where that's happening at, where they operate on liberal principles. Let me know. Only reason I don't like Trump is because of what he's doing to Mexico. My family was separated from me when I was 11. Wow. Fair enough. Well, some folks have pointed out that Biden was separating families. I mean, not Biden, Obama. Obama was separating families. So state your point. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with TOG. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, T.O. Asking that question, is Trump being railroaded? Or is he perhaps guilty? We'll give the box a chance to come up. Obama, as I says, and there's a lot more of them here in New York than you are banking. A lot more of what in New York? Progressive liberals are part of the same tree as communism and socialism. Well, here's the issue. Now, what is it? Communist China? You're going to tell me because China is a communist country, they're liberal? They're pro-LGBT, pro-women's rights, pro-choice. They're none of that. So this is where you lose me on it. When you look at what the Liberal Party stands for, most of these countries would not even allow a liberal pass customs. Would not even allow. You think AOC and Bernie Sanders' mindset would work in China? I don't even think Joe Biden's mindset would work. They're not liberals. You can say what you're trying to do is suggest that the liberals are communists. That's where the problem is. If I can say liberals are communists, Marxists, or fascists, then I can say any country on the globe that's Marxist, fascist, or communist is liberal based. That's not true. You think what Vladimir Putin is doing in Russia, which is allegedly a communist country as well, that looks liberal to you? You see Elizabeth Warren, when you look at Vladimir Putin, you think they got the same political ideologies? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Look it in the comments. Trump isn't qualified. It's that simple. Running the country is not the same as running golf courses. Furback. I would submit to you that a successful businessman can run this country. I think take the rhetoric of Trump, the insults, the tweets, the name calling away, and he'd be serving a second term. A successful businessman, remember Trump promised to surround himself with the best and brightest? Remember, he didn't do it because he called them all swamp creatures. But he did promise to do that. I'm going to surround myself with the best and brightest. I'm going to act presidential. He said that during the 2016 debates. If he had did what he did, let's take Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, some of the folks you like, some of them you hate. If any of them did exactly what Trump said, and I'm using their names because they're successful businessmen, Jeff Bezos is another. If any of them surrounded themselves with the best and brightest and act presidential, they can run this country. You don't have to know what's going on in a war zone. That's what the generals are for. You don't have to know what's going on with the pandemic. That's what folks like Dr. Fauci is for. I know you guys don't like him, but that's what surrounding yourself with the best and brightest is. What Trump tried to do is say, I know more than all of you motherfuckers. And he made a lot of mistakes because he doesn't. He doesn't know more than virologists and generals. He doesn't. But yeah, a businessman could run this country if they ran it from a standpoint of, I don't know every damn thing. Maybe I have the answers here, but they have the answers there. Trump didn't do that. So he failed miserably in some areas that businessmen aren't expected to succeed in. How many businessmen deal with pandemics, deal with war zones? That's not his forte. He stepped out of his lane and he did horrible in those areas. The areas he know, folks think he did better. Like the economy, folks like his economy. That's business. That's business. Looking in the comments, because of the illegal problem and the crime. Well, Trump claims that he had the illegal immigrants under control, and the president can't do a damn thing about crime. Can't do nothing about it. Continuing on, I don't know what happened with my last caller, but we'll go straight to Stick. Good afternoon. Welcome. Well, wait a minute. We brought up Majesty. Does that say Majesty?
It does say Majesty, Tim. You can just call me Jess.
Jess,
it's just a fun play on my name because there's so many Jesses or Jessicas on TikTok. I need to change it. If you have a better one for me, bring it. I don't know.
We'll go with Jess. So what am I getting wrong here?
I don't know about getting wrong, but I came up, it was probably November, and I was throwing a fit about South Dakota and our Governor Kristi Noem.
Yes. The dog lady.
Do you remember?
The dog lady.
Go ahead. I didn't hear you. What?
I said the dog lady. What about her?
Well, she's our governor, and I think that she's going to be Trump's pick. The dog lady. The dog's not even relevant. She's done things that are so much worse than that. But here's what I wanted to say about this book, and I want if there's MAGA listening, the book hasn't been released until tomorrow. So this book went directly to the media. You and I cannot read this book. It went to where she sent it.
That was a mistake.
To the media. So the media is reading blurbs out of it to us, right? And they're saying, okay, she killed the dog, she killed the goat, or unalived. Sorry, TikTok, sorry.
She met Kim Jong-un.
She took him to a gravel pit. I'm like, is this gravel pit hers? Is it someone else's? Anyway, I live in South Dakota. I've been here for over 10 years now. I've never heard this story, and I'm pretty liberal. I follow a lot of things. I watch everything on policy here. I watch everything on her. I've never heard this story. And she said she came out with this story because there were witnesses and people are attacking her. I'm telling you right now, if anyone is attacking Kristi Noem on anything, I'm going to know about it because I hate this woman. 6 months ago, I called you hating on this woman.
What's so bad about her? She's gorgeous. What do you like? What do you like about her?
Okay, well, I guess the Kardashians are gorgeous too.
Yeah.
So let's just go there, right? I mean, yeah. So she's like, if you look at her 10 years ago, let's just call her Kristi Kardashian because that's where we're going with that.
Oh.
I personally dislike her because my kids are in rodeo. And in 2020, my daughter is a senior in high school, or 2019 into 2020 as a senior when COVID came around. She got rodeo queen, and she's worked for it so hard all her life. She was at the barn before she went to school.
What is for us city boys?
Rodeo queen,
what is that?
And they shut down all the rodeos. They shut down everything. They shut down the rodeos, the home parades, all the stuff my daughter worked for, right? And when we finally got a rodeo in South Dakota, Kristi Noem, who rodeo queen, that's their honor, that's their privilege, is to be able to carry the American flag. That's what they work for. And Kristi Noem decided to take it for herself. This bitch was never a rodeo queen. Never. She's never shoveled horse shit in her life. She gets on a horse and runs around and looks pretty. My kids look pretty on horses too. But they're not taking pew-pews to 14-month-old puppies. I can promise you that. Wow. Okay, what I wanted to say about Kristi though too is the election in 2020, we passed we had a ballot issue for recreational and medical cannabis. Mm-hmm. Both issues passed. Recreational passed by a larger margin than medical. So what she did was she sued us. Kristi Noem sued her constituents, the state of South Dakota, our voters, and she said, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Why would that number be different? The way it was worded on the ballot, which she has access to the ballot, so if she had a ballot problem, she knew what was on the ballot before we went in the little booth and saw the ballot. It said, like, I went ahead and voted yes on both. I said yes to medical. I said yes to recreational in case Recreational didn't pass. I at least wanted it for medical for the people that need it.
Okay.
But because it came out and recreational passed bigger, she said, oh no, you guys don't know what you're doing. She sued her own people and said, you guys don't know what you're voting on. You don't know what you're voting about. She said we were too stupid to know what the ballot issue was, and she sued us. Look it up, all your MAGA people in here. And so here's the other thing. If our elections are fraudulent, first of all, that's freaking awful, and it's going to turn a lot of voters off. But here in the state of South Dakota, if it was not fraudulent and our votes were counted at a local election on a local issue, she overturned it anyway. Does voting even matter?
So let me ask it to you this way. So are you saying that when it comes to marijuana, for instance, the people voted in favor of it, but currently it's not legal there because of her?
Right, and she wants us to be on a registry for medical purposes. That you have to go to a specific doctor. You go to that doctor gives you a card, you send that card into the state, and then the state issues you a medical license. And you have to shop at the certain dispensaries. The law that she just passed, the dispensaries now are under the obligation for law enforcement to raid them anytime they feel like it.
Wow.
Which they already had that under probable cause. Now they're just allowed to go in no matter what, to check on what's going on. So there's crazy laws going on in South Dakota. Everyone needs to be paying very close attention.
Now she's pro-life, right?
Oh yeah. We have a total abortion ban. Or total, can we say that word? I don't know.
Yeah, rape and incest too?
Yep, rape and incest too. No abortions for any reason, not even the life of the mother.
Damn.
Yeah, it's awful. I have young daughters from 22 to 32 are my girls' ages. My boys are 16 and 18. But it is scary to live in a place where, you know, I would definitely support my kids no matter what decision they would try to make, but I would also let them know that they were supported. So I think that's a big problem with eliminating that issue anyway. I had a baby when I was 17. I didn't have support, and people, if you watch the comments too, when I talk about this, people will start calling me names.
Yeah, I see somebody already know. Yeah, I see somebody already said, raise your daughters right. I
chose to have my child, and I'm ridiculed to death. I was also SA'd during labor and delivery by my doctor when I was 17.
By your doctor?
By my doctor. And I didn't even know that's what it was until I was way, way older. Yeah, he put his hands on my shoulders because I was freaking out. I was 17. I was a baby. And he was leaning across me. He put his hands on my shoulders. He said, you're going to be fine. And he pulled away, and he kind of went down to the other end of the bed where the business end was happening. But all along down my side, I felt his...
I get it. His hands, right? His hands.
Here's the thing. I thought it was accidental. I was so embarrassed and humiliated and shocked. I thought it was accidental. It wasn't until I was way older as an adult woman that I understood he knew exactly what that was touching. He knew his erection was touching me.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't until I was, like, at that time I was just embarrassed. I was just humiliated, like, oh my God, I didn't know what to do or say. Now that I'm a woman, he's long gone now. But now that I'm a woman, I tell that story to everybody, my community, my everything, because it's not only been me. That's what's interesting about how that's spread. It wasn't just me. He was a classmate's dad.
Now let me. I hate to go somewhat off topic.
I'm way off. I'm sorry.
No. You're fine. You're fine. But I just want to ask, considering what you went through, you're not hanging around a bear right now, are you?
I lived in Wyoming for about 10 years. I'll take the bear.
Oh, no. Not the bear.
There are men in my life that I trust with my life, with my children, with everything that I am. And I wouldn't want to be alone in the woods no matter what. I'm not that type of girl. But if I were, bears do not scare me. Men do. Like men that I don't know. And because I've been assaulted by people I know, people I've trusted, you don't know. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. And so
listen, I guess you kind of make a point, because I wouldn't want to be out there with my baby mama either. I'd rather hang around a bear my damn self. So, I can eat the bear. So I kind of get your point, but then where are we headed in this society where people are choosing animals more than other human beings?
Well, the reality is I would not want to be close to a bear, but I have been in the vicinity of bears. I've had bears in my yard. I've lived in Colorado. I've lived in Wyoming. Bears are just part of our world. We know how to coexist with them. We know what we need to do. And with men and with being assaulted, we don't know how to coexist with that.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. We don't know how to coexist, and we don't know who to choose. I chose this doctor. I could have chosen any doctor. I chose him. Granted, I was a baby. I was 17, but I chose the person that assaulted me. Yeah. And then when he assaulted me, here I am, mouthy as I'll get it. I don't shut up for nothing. And I did not say anything. And so I know why abuse victims don't talk. I know why we don't speak out. I know why I don't talk about having a baby at 17, because people will come at me. But I chose to have my baby. I could have went and got an abortion and not told anybody and just moved on with my life. Instead, it was a scandal. I got kicked out of school. This was 32 years ago.
In South Dakota.
No, I lived in Nebraska when my daughter Michaela was born.
Same difference, ain't it? Kind of.
It's not very far. Not very far.
Yeah, it's far to the right as well.
But another thing, real quick, and then I'll go. I just want everyone, Christina, to pay attention, because she's a psycho. In this book, she gave it to the media. Now she's saying, "Oh, the book's not even out yet. I've changed those parts. I didn't meet with Kim Jong, or actually, she won't say that she did or didn't meet with them. It's just no one's business whether she did or did. It's crazy." And the reason that she did this was that so she could say, "Oh, look what they do to me. Look at the big bad media." No, the book she sent them was psycho. And when they're quoting her on it, she's skipping around like she won't even answer the question. And I think Trump's going to pick her, and I think MAGA's going to freaking buy it. And please do not, because the reservations here in South Dakota have kicked her off the reservation.
Damn.
If she steps foot on that reservation, we will unalive you. Come on our land. Come on our land. You are banned here.
All right, but before I let you go, one simple question I want to ask you. If you are alone in the forest, who would you choose between a bear and Kristi Noem?
Oh, Kristi Noem, I could take that bitch. No problem.
I gotta go. All right. Good talk, Jess. Good talk. Oh my God. What is this world coming to? These girls are choosing bears. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. I listen, I think I'm packing, but I can't compete with a bear. Looking in the comments, tell her South Dakota does have exceptions for abortions. Yeah, she said they didn't have an exception even for the life of the mother. So, okay. One of the reasons Trump is better is because he is entertaining. Mari, absolutely. Trump is way more entertaining than President Biden. But, and you know there's going to be a but, his entertainment comes at somebody's expense. His entertainment, he's not up there making everybody laugh or everybody's entertained. He is entertaining you by attacking me or somebody sitting next to me. Everybody is not entertained. There are people that are the butt of his entertainment. So that's the problem. I've said this before, because a lot of folks on the right listen. You know, it's just jokes. You need to get out of your feelings. Look at the economy. Look at what Trump was doing for the country. I get it. But my pushback is simple. Obama could give you the exact same policies of Trump, same economy, every damn thing else. But if he is doing what Trump did for the country, but attacking Christians and gun owners at the same time, I bet you that economy wouldn't be enough to overlook that shit. The reason Trump supporters are able to overlook Trump's tweets and insults is because they're not aimed at him. It's easy to overlook insults when they're not aimed at you. They're aimed at somebody else. Often they're aimed at people you want to insult anyway. But the benefits of Trump's presidency that many on the right favor would not mean anything if the guy was insulting Christians and gun owners. You would certainly not favor ignoring that. It's easy to ignore, nervous Nancy or sleepy Joe Biden. But they're liberals you don't like anyway. But what if the insults are at people you do like? It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. Looking in the comment section, what exactly did Trump do for the country? Says 1, 2, 3. But well, many folks believe the country is going too far to the damn left. Whether it's the LGBT community, whether it's African Americans, whether it is, as Trump claims, an anti-white sentiment in this country. Trump's going to undo all of that. Trump's going to undo. So if you wonder what is Trump doing for the country, we'll start there. We can talk about gas in the economy and things like that. But many believe that the liberals under Biden, under Obama, have taken the country too far to the left, and they want to move it back to the right. Maybe towards the traditional sense of the founding fathers. Many folks believe that was a better time. Think, make America great. So when you ask what did Trump do for the country, he has spoken consistently about moving us back to a traditional type America. Vivek, Ron DeSantis, and the rest of them are talking about policies. They're not talking about doing that kind of stuff, which is why Trump continues to consistently beat all of the other Republican challengers, no matter when you point to him, because it's not just about policy with Trump. It's about just the fundamental direction of this country. And when you start talking an anti-white sentiment, that really, really resonates with some people. You know, right now the country is, biased against white people. I think he said that. And he said that's not going to happen under his watch, whether it is the way LGBT, particularly the transgender community, is making gains, African Americans making complaints they believe is victim blaming, and they're making gains, women, feminists making gains, picking bears. Some people are not favorable to that stuff. Trump would be an ally to people who are not favorable to that type of stuff. That could have a lot to do with it as well. Looking in the comment section, I got real quick on YouTube. Let me see if I can, we get probably a lot more of the, spammers and things like that. So unfortunately, I gotta either reset YouTube or block a user that is literally sending the same thing over and over again. And if you will, I don't even know how to, I might have to reset the YouTube live, but somebody on YouTube in favor of Trump is just literally spamming the program. So it is what it is. Nevertheless, I do appreciate the 113,000 on TikTok. Certainly those who tap the screen on YouTube. It is your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. See you tomorrow.